Good morning, everyone. I mean, this is a very rare occasion where I'm on screen by myself. Oh, that didn't last. You gave all 5 seconds of airtime, mate.
That's enough for you to steal the show, mate. That's all you need. How you doing, mate? We've got to. If you said, you set this live. Sorry, I told you this would be more casual, didn't I? We barely know what the fuck we're doing. And there's the first. There's the first swear word of the evening.
Oh, who had 21 seconds for the F-bomb?
All right, guys, let's get SummerSlam up and running, shall we? First of all, so who's sticking around? Tell us who's in the comments, and we'll find out who's sticking around with us.
Yeah, give us a shout, everyone. Adam, Leanne, Sarah. Who's Sarah? Oh yeah, I remember her. I was nice. I didn't say anything horrible for 4 hours. Actually, I didn't say anything horrible then. It was just implied. Chris, Stevie, DJ Stevie, good to see. Did you see, Paul? I made Steve swear and spill his coffee over his trousers.
Oh man, what a combo there, mate! What a combo! Right, guys, start SummerSlam at your own pace. The nature of live programming. Hey, Dean, how you doing? How's it going, Chris? Chris, we're watching this live, mate, so I don't think I can spoil anything for you here. The nature of live programming, though, guys, is that we are going to be at slightly different times. At various points, we'll all try and do a time check to make sure we're all at roughly the same points. But we're going to watch the live stream of SummerSlam as it is. You know, I'm just going to turn the network on and away we go. So let's get this going, playing live. So at the minute, as I'm describing, we've got sort of Sasha Banks and Bayley and Asuka on screen. I'm not sure what my co-host doing. Lewis is here. Right, guys, I'm absolutely fucking traumatized, right? I've got to tell you what happened to me while we're doing this SummerSlam promo, right? So for the last sort of 45 minutes, for the last little while while we were doing that thing, we were talking to Harry and Georgia, I was aware that it was a funny smell in my room, and I wasn't quite. I thought my cat trumped, basically. He's a bit of a trumper, and I thought he'd done a trump. And as I'm listening to Val, I heard this noise right behind me going, and I'm like, that's a bit weird, and this smell is getting worse. So I turn around, and right behind my chair, there is the innards of what I can only imagine is a mouse, and a load of blood and all sorts of other weird shit laying on the floor right behind my chair with my cat nose buried into it, chowing down and having his tea. So I'm like, oh my God, I've got 3 minutes to dispose of a body, clean his shit up, get my wine, get my crisps, clean up, castigate my cat, give him something real to eat so he's not gnawing on dead animals. Oh my God, I made it back with about 30 seconds left and I am wired. Where is my wine? I better have brought the bottle opener in, otherwise.
Where is your cat? What's the point? Where?
I don't know. Murdering something, murdering my firstborn up in his bed. I don't know. It's like that is so funny. And by the way, thank you so much to our little cameo there at the end. As some of you would have spotted, we had a little cameo from the Fiend just to finish off with. I thought that was quite a cool little touch. I just want to give him a shout out. We didn't want to sell it in the actual moment, but that was a cosplayer called Michael Kenny, who is, in my opinion, the UK's best Bray Wyatt cosplayer. So we agreed for him to come in and just do 30 seconds of his shtick without acknowledgement. So now we're sort of off the record, as it were. I wanted to acknowledge Michael and getting all ready and all prepped and everything just for those 30 seconds. That is beyond the Call of Duty, that one. So thank you, Michael.
I think what happened was, I think most people assumed that it was Hatch, who is the normal dresser upper, but I think a couple of people also thought it was me. So because you got rid of me in the chat just before, you went, "Oh, Rob needs to go now," and so I disappeared, and then the Fiend appeared, and then I came back again. So I think people just went, "Oh, that's clearly Rob." But others that know that Chris does the dress up thought it was him. Yeah. So,
but also it would have taken a lot more than my usual 5 questions to work out a costume like that.
So
guys, we're just to let you know, we're going live in the Thunderdome. I'm just going to put some commentary on a very low level so I can hear what's going on. We've got Asuka coming to the ring as we speak. Are you guys seeing similar?
Yeah, she is. I will tell you.
She's on the stage.
She is on this 1 step, 2nd step, 3rd step, 4th step on the ring, as far as I'm
absolutely in line with you, Rob.
You're a tiny, tiny bit ahead of me then. That's probably because of my shite.
We are in the south.
So I am just going to go
happen quicker.
one thing missing from my little ensemble here is my wine glass. So I'm just going to go and get that, guys. So
Drink out the bottle.
Drink out the bottle. Do you think I should?
Drink it out of the bottle. Class.
Stay classy, Hooks on Wrestling.
Free now, can't you?
Right. So, guys, let's put a question to the group. Yay or nay? Quickly, one answer. Yay or nay? Thunderdome. What do we think? I think it looks absolutely awesome. Like, you know, look at that. For what they've got, for the situation they have to work themselves in, that looks cool, doesn't it?
I think it looks all right. I think it'll get tiresome quite quickly, but I think for what they've had to do and what they've tried to do, I give them credit.
Yeah,
I give them a lot of credit for trying to be different and trying to engage people, make it look really unique. I think it's very. I don't love it, but I think it's really positive.
Yeah, I was concerned how distracting it might be from the action, but it hasn't been. Again, hasn't been quite as bad as that. It's done a good job as something unique and what it is, and you can't ask more than that at the moment.
No, absolutely. And the first person to wear a Hooked on Wrestling shirt in the Thunderdome gets free entry for life to our parties. By the way, we want to see Hooked on Wrestling repped in the Thunderdome. So what's this first match? Is Bailey, isn't it? If I remember right.
Bailey is on now. So I don't know if we can't do ongoing polls in here. Can we? Is there a little poll button to do things inside of this function? I'm not sure, but just a straightforward result. Everybody in the chat, who wins this opening match?
Who
Asuka
wins?
or Bailey? Who are you going for? Hatch, who are you going for?
I think we get an Asuka win in this one just to set up the confusion of whether she could win them both.
I've just got to acknowledge Trev Moulton's comment, who wonders if Hulk Hogan's got a place in the Nitro Dome on one of the screens. Nice, go, nice. And Anthony, we will come to NXT Takeover in a little while. We'll get SummerSlam bedded in first. But I do want to talk about NXT Takeover last night because it was awesome. So, right, guys, I am just going to give me 10 seconds. I'm going to go and get this wine and make sure there are no dead rabbits lying around my kitchen floor. So bear with.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to get rid of his screen while he's doing that. But he's the boss, so I'll let him go and do that. I need to go and get some stuff myself in a minute. I agree. I'm going Asuka to win twice. I think she wins both. But I'll say this: if she wins one, I think she'll win the second one because
okay.
you'll be expecting her to win the first one and lose the second one. So I think she might win, but if she wins two, she wins two, and that's what I would go for. But as Adam has just said, Asuka's only winning one, and I think it's against Sasha. I agree with him. But we're split. What we got here? We've got who is commenting? Anthony says Asuka, Malcolm Asuka, Chris Asuka, Leanne Bailey, Francis Asuka, Sarah Asuka, Stevie Cox, Asuka to beat Bailey to lose to Sasha, Chris Sheldon Brown, Bailey, Adam Asuka's only winning one. I reckon it's against Sasha. Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Another donation made. It's very kind of you. Shame Kyrie couldn't stay. Yeah, quite right. I love Kyrie saying. She wants Bailey to lose. Okay, so cool. We're about to on my screen. They're just having a bit of a circle and just locking up now. So that's where I am on my screen. You're basically with me, are you, Chris?
Absolutely. Within a split second, we're about identical. So
cool. Paul's back at his desk, and I assume will bring himself in when he is ready. Tell you what I'm waiting for, lads, is I'm waiting for the first moment in the chat of the evening when someone complains that this isn't a dodgy illegal feed. I'd imagine someone will have found our video and will have come in and gone, oh, they're not showing SummerSlam, it's just a bunch of blokes talking.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And by the way, my pick for the winner on the first match is Asuka. So, guys, let me ask a quick question. Would anybody be interested in coming on our stream later for a little while, just for a few minutes to make a comment? Not promising we'll get through everyone, but it'd be nice to see a few of you and say hello. So, if anyone's up for that, just hey, what the hell? We're off the clock now. This is fun time.
Oh, so no, my reaction is not to you. My reaction is to the amazing submission hold that Asuka just had on there.
Oh, yes, that is. What would you call that? Is that a reverse octopus arana?
bit of an octopus thing going on. I like the curtain that she's got hanging from her belt there.
Sarah's absolutely right, by the way. Sarah in the chat says we need a female on our show. She's absolutely right. Our diversity is absolutely woeful. Rob isn't quite human, so that ticks a box, at least. And Chris is from Maidstone. So is that right, Kent? Anyway, so yeah. we're kind of ticking a couple of boxes there. But and I'm a Yorkshireman. I'm not really sure that counts. Adam doesn't want to be on the feed because he's in bed, and although we might be dropping a few F-bombs, we're not that desperate for viewers just yet. We'll let you know, Adam, if that situation changes.
Best thing about Maidstone is it's the best Stone Roses song. Oh, it's made of stone. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
And you haven't got it yet, have you?
I might, dude.
No, I'm meaning where Rob is. Rob seems like he's not got a drink on the go. That's what's worrying me.
I haven't, because I've been professional and I've stayed on the screen. I'll go away and I'll get something in a minute, but I didn't want to leave everybody like him just wandering off and trying to stop his cat terrorizing the neighborhood and whatever else he's doing.
Look, by the way, I just want to say, so Sarah's up for an appearance later, so we might come to you in a bit, Sarah. So, guys, just I just want to say, I want to take this record. We are watching the match, but there's a few things I want to talk about early doors. I love the fact that they got the 2 tag belts on the ring apron there. That's so cool. My two co-hosts here, Rob and Chris, who are, do a lot for Hooked on Wrestling, especially in the last 12 weeks where, let's be honest, there hasn't been any money coming through the tills. So they've been doing it for no financial benefit whatsoever. But they've been entertaining you guys week in, week out, and keeping me supported with keeping this thing motoring. So a massive thank you to Rob and Chris and everybody who's helped out with the Hooked on stuff. So I don't say that enough publicly, and you guys are absolutely awesome. So thank you so much for that.
No worries, mate. We're I think particularly a night like tonight, I think is really one of those nights where I wouldn't say you're just happy to be a part of it. It makes me sound like a Make-A-Wish kid, but I'm saying it was immense fun. Let's face it.
Yeah.
There are some nights when we do things like the live shows, when we do the what we're really all about, when we're in a bar and we're doing it all together, and they actually are really stressful.
Oh God, yeah.
I wouldn't do that for free for you. Travel across the country and do that because they're dead stressful. Until 1 minute past 12, you don't have a moment to breathe and enjoy the night. But tonight was ace, and there was a couple of interviews tonight as well, which I won't lie to you folks, I thought was struggling to start with. One was because I thought the technology was letting us down, and 2, I just thought it was a bit of a slow start. But both of them, by the time they got to the end, just a joy.
Phenomenal.
We had a brilliant level of guests tonight. We really did. Not just in terms of who they were and what they meant to the industry and to SummerSlam 92, but what they gave us. I'm going to let some daylight in upon Magic. Some of the people, I won't say who, but some of the people that we did that to pre-record earlier on, did that on very little notice. We were promised a couple of things that didn't deliver, folks. That's all I'll say. But everyone that was involved tonight is a legend for what they did. And a couple of them got a call this morning. Get us out the cart, help us out. And they're not bad people to go to, are they?
No, mate. I'll drop in some daylight because the people who are with us now are clearly like hooked on devotees. So, what we really wanted to do the best. Our initial mission was to get as many people from SummerSlam 92 as possible to appear, and it just didn't work. Like they've got their own reasons. Not a criticism in any way, shape, or form, but most of them just did not want to engage at all. Which is a real shame, because they're great guys and everything, but it just wasn't their bag. So I tried right to the last minute. But I knew I always had some contacts and friends, and Doug and Nick and Val. I've worked with them for a long time. I worked with them back in TNA. They were great. And I wasn't kidding when I said I was on Nick's first media tour. And he was so nervous, but so professional. And he's always been that way. And, he's a pro, to the last, that guy. And they are, I went to them all and said, look, if we're in a bind, can you help me out? And every single one of them said,
and Eddie.
Yes. And Eddie, I'm sorry, God, just because Eddie's not part of the TNA crew, my mistake. Eddie's part of the Hooked on Wrestling team, and again, like absolutely happy to just drop what they're doing and spend 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 minutes just really adding to the night. So I know they're not listening to this, but a massive thank you to those guys as well for adding a little bit of colour to our night and everything else. But I hope you all enjoyed it anyway. Like those, we wanted to put something a bit unique together, and we really think with Martin and Diana and Georgia and Harry that we put something together you just haven't seen before.
Do you know what, mate? Actually, if we're doing a little bit of self-critique, it actually wasn't the right forum for Martin. Martin needs longer.
No.
And we had to get through things, and because he's not a performer, everyone else sort of understands, we need to come in and do something and move on. Not a criticism, by the way, of Martin, who is a lovely man. I've only met him a couple of times. You know him much better. But he's always been lovely to me, very helpful to me. And he does we barely scratched the surface of some of his stories. So please try and get him on How Mania with you and Ash, because it will be a joy.
I fully intend to, mate, and we'll give him as much time as he needs. In fact, he probably needs one of our podcasts. Mine and Ash go to normal lengths. It's mine and yours that go on forever, so he probably needs a How to Be Great.
Mate, I topped it this week. Have you listened to Because WCW yet?
I had a text from Dean AS about 2 minutes after you finished recording.
An absolute monster it was. But they kept asking my opinion. Silly buggers. Have me on a show. Rob, what do you think of that? I'm going to talk forever, aren't I? Give me a WCW pay-per-view to slag off, and you don't think I'm going to talk forever?
Amateur. Sorry, I'm just dealing with a couple of messages, guys. So
we'll cover it off. Actually, to be fair, I am doing a little bit of a plug for another podcast, but it was really cool talking to Dean and to Liam. In fact, we ought to thank Dean as well. Dean AS. We've kind of left off because he helped really early on. To Dean and indeed to Brian Blair, who were on right at the very start of this. The Cauliflower Alley thing was I wouldn't say it was a late call. We decided to do this broadcast before we got them involved, but it was one of those things that I think you texted me in the morning, Paul, about 10 o'clock in the morning. I responded about 1 o'clock saying I thought it was a good idea, and you went, "Yeah, I've already set the wheels in motion." As that, you didn't even wait until for someone to say thumbs up because you knew it was such a good idea. Ding! There it is. The first person that thought this was going to be an illegal channel. Here's a response for Booba 1997 by the network Support Wrestling.
$9.99 apparently.
Something like that. But it was such a complete no-brainer to me because I think the Cauliflower Alley cause, and it was nice to raise some money tonight, but it's I think just as important to raise a bit of awareness. People think it's a reunion, and to be fair, up until quite recently I essentially thought it was just a reunion, and I didn't realize quite how much they do. And as I said on a couple of interviews and podcasts, they're essentially like the PFA is for football, or like the Injured Jockeys Fund is in horse racing, of like looking after people that have been and gone and whatever. And I think that's it's really cool. So I was really pleased that we could do that. And Dean, who I mentioned, who does Because WCW, it was nice to get him involved because he's someone else that's been around Hooked on Wrestling for years, helping us out live at shows and stuff. And Kathy as well, his partner, have been a brilliant help to us. So really, really cool on that.
And a final thank you before we concentrate a bit on this match is to Dean Dionisio from Wrestle Merch Central, who let's be perfectly honest, it was his idea. This was his idea. The genesis of the idea came from Dean in the first place. So that was a real good shout. I'm a bit annoyed with myself. I didn't think of it first, but it was Dean's shout. So, mate, thank you so much for putting that together.
Good man. Thank you for the jerseys.
For putting the wheels in motion, giving us this jersey. I'll be honest now, this isn't my favourite jersey, but I love it because it's so weird. It's just so weird. Can
I say, lads, I've done the best of the shirts.
You have. Yeah, you have.
I've done the best of the shirts. And we didn't pick. Well, I didn't pick anyway. I got sent what I was given. But I have done the best. So thank you, Bruno, for that one.
Now you've done that well, I'll just have to be wearing a Hatchamania shirt every week. I'm sorry.
What you going to do? Right, so let's talk about this match a bit, because on the slide we've had a sneaky little match going on here, haven't we?
What a great move. Asuka just countered the elbow from the top into a cross arm breaker.
Oh, man.
And swings it away from the ropes as well. That's quality.
Rob, try to stay away from the play-by-play, mate, as such, because we're all going to be at different moments. And, like, you're calling a match, for instance, is 20 seconds ahead of me, I think, or 10 seconds ahead. So... What? No!
Sorry.
Oh dear me. Yeah, this looks like a hell of a match, actually. Do we know if the other match is on? Do we know if the Asuka Sasha Banks match immediately follows, or
I've got the commentary. I've got the sound totally off because it'll echo on my screen. So.
Well, actually, I might answer that myself. Sasha is in track wear rather than ring wear,
Oh!
so I'm assuming not.
Yeah, I think it's much more likely there'll be a break, especially now.
Oh!
Just waiting for the penny to drop with Paul.
Ah.
There we go. So I think you're about 15. So me and Chris are exactly together.
Naught for one in my predictions there.
In the room, folks, that I made a reference to some of the moves that were happening, and then obviously reacted when the pin happened. Let us know where you are in relation to where we are. On my screen, double team move, bang, Asuka lands. So we would like to know roughly where you are with where we are.
Oh my God, I am. Sasha Banks is so cool, isn't she? She is just she just gets it so much.
All three of these are absolute quality.
Two of my 5 MVPs, top 5 in WWE this year. These two women on the screen standing tall now: Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton. Absolutely first class, and it's such a shame that they're doing this great
MVP,
work
baby.
without the impression. MVP's been amazing, but he's not been at the level those 5 have. These guys have had stellar years, and it's such a shame that they're not getting the recognition they deserve because of the circumstance. Look at it, Bailey slagging off the video walls, just absolutely brilliant. That was awesome.
That was a great match.
Yeah,
that was a really great match.
I by the way, now's as good a time to say as any. I have got huge hopes for this pay-per-view. This is the first pay-per-view since Royal Rumble that I'm looking at as and it feels like a proper pay-per-view already, doesn't it? The difference compared to those matches in the performance center. I remember watching WrestleMania with Chris and Stevie Cox, who will bring in a second, and everybody else, and it just felt shit. It wasn't WrestleMania. It was people wrestling in a warehouse, and it was just god awful. And every other pay-per-view since has been the same. It's not been wrestling. This feels like the biggest wrestling company in the world. It feels I'm buzzing. I am absolutely buzzing to see it like this. And it just feels like nothing else has felt all year. So bring on the Thunderdome. I am going to be in a Thunderdome at some point. That's my goal.
I've got a bit of a game here, right? Thomas Hall has just asked us, who is the best women's wrestler at the moment, in your opinion? I think we should play a little 3-way game of what I would say is Mr. and Mrs. So I've written down mine. I think we have to try and guess what each other would say.
What? So I've got to write down yours and Chris's, have I?
Yeah. Well, no. We write down our own suggestion, and then so I've written mine.
I see.
You two discuss who you think I would choose. Say it, and then I'll turn my screen around and tell you and show you what I've put.
Okay. I've written mine
Thomas
down.
Hall, who is the best women's wrestler in your opinion? Who do you think? You've written down who you think yours is.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got mine. Chris, do yours and tell me when you're ready.
I'm writing mine down now. That I have quiz pages all through my notebook. So
Brilliant.
We are making Chris burn down the rainforest, and we make no apologies for that.
Right, I'm there.
Right.
Okay. Who wants to go first? I did it first. Go on.
Well, you might as well guess mine first.
Okay, we'll guess yours first. Who would Paul say? You've just flagged up those as being your favourites for this year. Okay, I'll go Sasha. I'll say you said Sasha.
Chris?
Yeah, I'll go Sasha as well. I think we're on the same lines there.
I don't need to show you it because you're both absolutely right. I think I did give it away. It was a very close call between her and Asuka, but yeah, Sasha's the one.
Go on, then. I'm not filming you. I'm just going to show you.
I'm going to go with Rob now. I think Rob said Asuka.
Chris?
I'm going to go Bailey.
See, I thought you'd have got this, Paul. Because I'm always telling you how good I think she is and how they could do even more with her. What am I going to say?
Alexa Bliss.
Shayna Baszler.
Oh.
I adore Alexa Bliss. My favourite is different to who is the best.
True. Right, Chris.
Shayna is best. I adore Alexa.
I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to say Asuka.
No, I think he's a company man. I think he's going to say Charlotte.
And you would both be wrong.
Bailey, isn't it?
It certainly is, considering Bailey.
I nearly said that, man. I nearly said that.
Just never grown on me. I don't know why. Just never.
What have we got here? We've got Ray and Dominic. That is a cool looking shirt that Dominic's got on. I would totally wear that shirt. And there's not many wrestling shirts I'd say that about. I would wear that shirt in any social situation. Do you know what my biggest bugbear about wrestling shirts is, right? The guys on the stream knows. Why does every wrestling shirt have to have a print on the back, right? I've always hated it. Why can't they just have a print on the front? It's like, oh, Rob's gone. He's not. Yeah, but it's only because Wrestle Merch Central doesn't want a. They're cool. They know what it's all about, and they know what it's all about. Either that, or Dean's too lazy to design something for the back as well. Either or, whatever it is.
Wrestle Merch Central with a discount code of HOW10. That is HOW10.
I did say we'd give away some more stuff, didn't I? So
we've got some stuff to give away. Yeah, brilliant.
Should we give something away now? Let me just pull up my list. So what have we got left to give away? We've got a few more SummerSlam DVDs and a Hooked On shirt. So I'm going to give a couple of SummerSlam DVDs away right now. So let me get my randomator up. I won't. But what, by the way, with this, this is the only slight rigging I'm going to do. If you get drawn out for a SummerSlam DVD and I've already won a SummerSlam DVD, I will of course, go to the next person. So I'm just telling you that in advance, so I'm not having to pretend. And we have got our first double winner of the day. He's already won a Hooked On shirt, and now he has won SummerSlam DVD from WWE Euroshop. It's Nick Wood, who's a very long-term fan of us and a very generous contributor to our fund as well. So I'm pleased that he's won that. I'll give one more away. Number 309 has come up on my list. So that is Dale Scala. I saw Dale around earlier. I don't know if he's still around. Again, we'll follow up on all these in the morning, guys, once we've had a bit of shut-eye and got our ducks in a row. But we'll get that to you. So we'll do the rest of it. We've got 2 more SummerSlam DVDs and a Hooked On Wrestling shirt to give away in due course. So we'll do that time. And by the way, I just want to give a shout. I want to give a big shout out to Liam McMenamin, who's in tonight. So Liam started off as a fan of Hooked On. A few years ago, I was in a real bind. Our party's in Leeds, and I needed some help. And for some reason, even though he'd been one of the most vocal critics of some of the stuff we'd done wrong in the past, I decided, but it was always productive criticism. So I reached out to Liam to see if he wanted to be part of the team, and that was about 3 years ago. And I swear to God, he has not let me down once since. He's been an absolute warrior for Hooked On Wrestling. So if you go to our Leeds parties, you'll know Liam, and he has been an absolute superstar ever since then. So I just want to give you a big shout out, mate, and say thank you for everything you do for us. And he's also actually now a shareholder in Hooked On Wrestling, which is quite cool. He's one of there's 3 of us now who are shareholders in Hooked On, and Liam is now one of them. Very, very minority stakes these guys have got, but they believe in what we're doing, and he's come on board. So hopefully that makes him even more up for what we're doing and makes him some cheeky cash in the future. So Liam, you're the man. Just wanted to say that publicly. Right, what we got here now, this is Retribution. My little boy is obsessed with Retribution. He keeps coming to me and going, is such and such, I think Rusev's in Retribution because he's angry that WWE have fired him. He loves Rusev, by the way. Rusev's his favorite wrestler because he met him in Leeds. He keeps is such and such in Retribution. Has he done something wrong? He's constantly obsessed with people that are in Retribution. So
sorry, that's nice. This is the first time I've really got to look at the Thunderdome stuff, and I love that they're using it as the part of the entrance as well. Yeah, I hadn't seen that. Oh, that looks brilliant.
Oh, what's this? Is there another match announced that we've not seen?
It's KO, but he's not in his gear, is he?
He's not in his gear, no. What's he doing? And what's he wearing? He's wearing a Street Profit shirt.
He's got
maybe he's coming to do comms, is he?
Matty Bryan thinks the Miz is behind it. Matty, I think, in my personal opinion, that is a typical WWE bait and switch. I think that is. I think they want you to think that. And I think that in actual fact, it'll be something completely different. It's classic dodgy storytelling. Look, he looks good in red, doesn't he, KO?
By the way, I haven't heard a word he said, and I don't even know why he's out here. But how good is Kevin Owens? Like his body language, the way he does stuff. I remember saying 2 or 3 years ago, like I didn't want him to use the stunner, by the way, but I said just let him be Austin. Just let him be that just kick-ass, no frills bloke that the fans just want to love. Look at him, he's so likable there, but we know what a complete bastard he can be. But just walk into the ring there and waving to the Thunderdome screens and, fist bumping with Joe and with Byron. He's so cool. He's so, oh God, I love him.
He really can do it all, but he knows he doesn't have to do it all of the time. He gives you what you want and need to see.
On that note, look at Angel. Is it Angel or Angel? I'm not sure, but Garza looks like the sort of guy who would steal your girlfriend when you're on holiday in Tenerife. He would be working at the bar and he would steal your girlfriend exactly while you're at the table. Before you'd finished your dessert, he would have her number, and that would be the end of you and her. So I'm not speaking from bitter experience or anything, but it really is. And by the way, I think Chris Higgins might be in with a right shout there. Drake Maverick's been very conspicuous by his absence in the last few days, and we know it's not because they don't think highly of him. They do. I 100%. I do think it's going to be part of it. I think it's going to be a storyline stemming from this whole Black Friday thing. I think there's going to be a lot of guys, basically anyone that hasn't appeared in Impact or AEW yet, I think is going to be in Retribution, and I think Drake Maverick is going to be front and center with that. Because I could tell you now, the people that matter in WWE think the absolute world of Drake Maverick. And I've heard that from not quite the horse's mouth, but the person who feeds the horses hay in the morning.
From the groom, you've heard it from the groom.
I've heard it from the groom's mouth. And I would not be remotely surprised if Drake Maverick was playing a huge, huge part in all of that. So,
I don't particularly care who's in it and all that kind of stuff. That's a little bit secondary. I do think what I've seen so far, the production of them has been rubbish. They look like a bunch of kids that run around your neighborhood on Halloween egging your windows.
Yeah,
that's what they look like.
I agree.
And that thing they set fire to that was just looked like it was. Do you know when you have those big stacks of things that firefighters practice on? Where they on that, it just looked like one of them. It just looked like a firefighting exercise. It's been rubbish so far. And by the way, if they were a horrible company a horrible bunch of bastards trying to break into your company, why would you run a promo video for them on SummerSlam?
There you go.
Right, if some bunch of sods tonight infiltrated our broadcast, we would have blocked them and ignored them, not run a promo to their website. It's idiocy.
Yeah,
what's happened?
Absolutely.
We've had the NWO here, and then what were they called in TNA? Aces and Eights here.
Nexus.
Okay, NWO 1, Nexus 2, Aces and Eights 3, the Retribution at the moment 19, because there's bound to have been better things in between. But I loved Aces and Eights, the concept of Aces and Eights to begin with. I thought it was really, really cool. And then basically it was Gallows and Nux and two people that had been retired and Wes fucking Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff. It was one of the worst bunch of lineups I've ever seen. Poor old Bully Ray, who was a genius, couldn't pull anything out of that lot.
No. Well, hey, we've got a new guest on the stream, guys. A familiar face when it comes to our London parties. He is our DJ Residence, and the world's biggest Street Profits fan. So I am told by nobody at all. So, guys, please, big welcome to
Bring the smoke.
DJ Stevie Cox. How you doing, Steve? Freshly shorn there, mate.
How's it going, guys? You all right?
Hello,
yeah,
mate.
Good.
Excellent.
How was your night? How's our audio been? Have we been on point? Has there been any pinch points?
Yeah, sent you a few messages, but it's been fine overall. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really nice. Diana Hart-Smith bringing that jacket out was a very much a highlight for me. I think that was epic.
Total moment, that wasn't it? Total moment. It was just. She told me she got that just yesterday, and I was like, "Holy shit, that is just icing on the cake." By the way, that's Chris's next dress up. Chris's next dress up is Diana Hart-Smith.
I know what see that, Chris.
Oh dear me. Right, so go on, guys. Guys in the chat. guys in the chat, predictions for this match. Let's hear your predictions.
Yeah,
Who is winning? Who's winning the tag team title match?
Well, everyone in the chat is saying that. I just want to give my own intro to Stevie, who is someone that I didn't know before Hooked on Wrestling got really into its stride. What, about 5 years ago or so? And one or two of the shows that I had missed, Steve had come along and basically said someone else had saved the day and then ended up on the team. And he, I will say, more than anybody, has been a huge help to me, because what we've tended to do, we often assume we assume knowledge of people, but generally speaking, I host the London event. Paul runs the London event, I host it, and Steve does the music. It's tended to be, not always, but that's tended to be how it goes. And I say music, but all the sound, all the production, all that kind of thing, and lets me just get on with it, and does a brilliant job for me. And he has to put up with me shouting at him and swearing at him and moaning at him, and he very calmly goes, "Okay, Rob," and puts up with it all. And then about 12:15, I apologise. This is normally about the time I'm apologising to you, Steve, isn't it? Buying you a Diet Coke and saying I'm really sorry.
But this is normally about the time where I've packed everything away and I'm ready to just sit down and enjoy some wrestling.
Yeah.
And
sometimes
don't need
people are having to plead with you not to drive home at silly o'clock at night and after you've worked all day and are very tired. But
you guys are really easy to work with. It's my favourite thing that I do, to be honest. I love doing the shows. Just disappointed that we can't be doing them now.
Yeah, man, me too. So, by the way, look, quick show of hands in the chat. So I know a few names, but a few of you I don't know from previous from before lockdown, basically. So who comes to our events? Which one of you goes, right? The cat's just come back in the window.
Yeah, really good shout. Actually, anyone who's in the chat, do you come to our live pay-per-view parties? And if you do, which one do you come to? Because there's lots of names here that I know from the quizzes, but I don't necessarily know if you're pay-per-view people. There are other people who I do know in real life, as it were. But it would be interesting to see who's around. Are we getting another Dizzy cameo?
I've got a murderer on my knee. I've got a murdering psychopath stood on my knee, and for some reason I'm not that scared. I'm totally his favourite. He follows me around like a dog. I think he kills in my honour. That bird probably looked at me funny.
He kills in my honour, like your cat is Brienne of Tarth.
That bird probably pooed on my waffle at some point or something like that. So Dizzy's been plotting revenge for all these years, and he's finally gutted him. So who have we got left in the chat? So Chris, another valued member of the Hooked On team in a different way. So guys, if you've not been to our website, hookedonwrestling.co.uk, we started this early in lockdown, and it was a labour of love at first, but it's become an absolute love, simple as. And we've got a great team working on it. Chris being the number one guy behind that website. You know, me and him are the two really. With a bit of help from others, but Chrissy P, who came in, basically, I loved what he did. He basically he didn't even ask us. He just submitted an article and goes, "There you go, lads. There's an article. Publish it if you want." And we're like, "Actually, that's pretty damn good. So yes, we will." And welcome to the team. And he's been absolutely the best of our contributors ever since. So it's been awesome to have him on board. And I'm looking forward to meeting you properly, Chris. I know we've probably crossed paths, mate, but I'll look forward to meeting you properly next time we're back. And then there's Leanne, who has been another fan turned member of the team, who has been absolutely the bedrock. We wouldn't be in Wales without Leanne and her boyfriend Adam, who are absolutely awesome. Dean came to our parties for a bit, but I think he just scribbled on my friend's face and then stopped coming. So anyway, it's all good in the hood. We've not forgotten that, Dean. We are going to scribble on your face. Mark my words. I'm going to get my cat to kill you. Where's Rob gone, by the way, guys?
I think
we've got to let him get a drink at some point, haven't we? He was on screen most of it.
Yeah, that's true. Guys, I haven't been watching this match. What's this match been like?
I have to be honest with you. The main thing that's happened to me in this match is there's a girl in a yellow top in the bottom right-hand corner of the Thunderdome who's rocking back and forwards, who's absolutely freaking me out.
Oh yeah, I've just seen her. She looks like the girl out of the old.
Fully.
Do you remember the old late?
Glass on for a closer look.
Do you remember the late '90s PlayStation ads that used to play on the cinema?
Yeah,
that's her. Hey, Matty, you used to go to Relentless events. Awesome. Well, Matty, when we come back from the pandemic, we are going to be rocking those Relentless events. Relentless were an amazing company, literally the only company in the UK that did these events. Even as close to as good as us. And the guys at Relentless are amazing. They've just done a bit of enough, and we are taking over. So we're going to bring those back with an absolute bang, and I can't wait, because Birmingham's a superb city for doing these events in. Trev, we don't do any in Huddersfield. You have to go to Manchester or Leeds. It's Rob. Where has Rob gone? Do you think Rob's just left? Do you think he's just gone? I'm not an enormous. I suppose it's a good time to say I'm not an enormous Street Profits fan. If I'm honest, I think they're goofy. I just don't get it. Do not get it. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
When these guys first started out, I quite liked them. I thought they were a little bit different, but it just seems like they've turned the goof up 10,000%, as you said. And yeah, I just don't like them anymore. And I love tag team wrestling, but these guys just don't do it for me at all.
Yeah, my take would be, I've always been one for comedy wrestling. I know it's got a really big place on the card and it can be done really well. This just doesn't feel like it's the right thing in the right place for them. And yeah, I'm a bit old-fashioned and it takes time for things to grow on me. This really hasn't grown on me. It's done the opposite.
Yeah,
I completely. Thomas Hall, my mate chokeslammed me through a table at one of your Survivor Series events. Oh my God, I would get banned for life if we would have our party shut down if we saw that nowadays. So we'll just pretend you didn't say that, Thomas. That's all good. No, it's going to be. We are. I'm so desperate. I realise on weekends like this, I had a moment this morning where normally I'd be getting on a train to London and get rid of these parties, and it really affected me. I think when WrestleMania was on, it was all too quick and soon, and it was all a massive disaster. So I didn't really feel it, and it was this weekend that I really felt it. I was like, there's a massive void here, and I just love doing events for these guys, for you guys. It absolutely is the most joyous professional thing I do in my life, and I cannot wait to bring them back. And see all my friends, see Steve and Rob and Chris and Leanne and Liam and everybody else, like that we either see in the flesh or I'm barking scared or barking. Oh my God, that was a hell of a move. I'm barking orders to over the that's me 0 for 2 then. Doing well this week.
That was an incredibly quick match, it felt like.
Well done. Yeah, that was odd. That was really, really odd.
It was very strange last night. It was you were thinking, there's only 5 matches on the card. They've all got to go long. And then, hang on, we're 40 minutes in and we've already seen all the intros and 2 matches and the third match is coming to the ring.
Let's talk about TakeOver because, forgive me, I can't remember who it was. Someone asked us earlier to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Now, I love NXT. I am a massive, massive, massive NXT fan. I think TakeOver is the best brand in wrestling in terms of events. The quality bar is so high. I think the worst event in TakeOver history has been very good. Last night was bang average.
Yeah, 100% agree.
It certainly wasn't a bad review, but by TakeOver standards, it wasn't there.
Are we? Is it fair to say it was the worst takeover of all time? And I'll just preface that by saying the standards of takeover are so incredibly high. You could have an event that you'd say was good, which last night was good. It wasn't a bad event, like you say, in any stretch of the word. But it wasn't a great event, and I think good isn't good enough when it comes to takeover.
I think you could go through and find worse, but you're going to be sitting there and having to consciously think, is this one worse? It's not just an instant, that's the worst one. There were good moments, there were good matches. In particular, the confidence in Pat McAfee doesn't surprise me.
Amazing.
Out of this world. Things you wouldn't see from anyone going in there for years and years, let alone a first match on a show like that. Great.
Yeah.
Talk about those moments, but as a show overall, nah.
Sarah Golding says she can't wait for Daddy to come home. I really hope she's talking about Tommaso Ciampa, who's coming back on Wednesday night. And I think that genuinely will give NXT a shot in the arm, because it's been, it's just been a bit lackluster. Keith Lee's title reign was, for nothing in the end, really. I assume that's because he's moving up. Karrion Kross has got injured. The tag team belts are an afterthought. It's just, look, it's NXT. It will get better. It always does, but it's in a bit of a lull. So let's see where we go from there. No, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect Keith Lee to drop the title either, Matty. I think I predicted that there'd be a DQ finish or some sort of schmoz finish to protect them both, because Karrion Kross has been very good. But Keith Lee totally did not deserve to lose that strap. Second shortest title reign in NXT history, and for that belt. The shortest being, come on, give us an answer, guys. Who's the shortest title reign in NXT history? Comments or contributors?
You got me there. I can't think.
No. Okay.
Drew.
Say that again.
Drew the shortest one.
Bo Dallas.
Drew McIntyre the shortest one. No, he's quite wrong, wasn't he?
You're both wrong. It was a 15-day reign, and that's 1-5 by Samoa Joe. Yep, Samoa Joe had 15 days. Matty, Johnny Gargano was the next. So he goes Samoa Joe, Keith Lee, and then Johnny Gargano is the third shortest. I think it was like 2 days longer than Keith Lee's or something like that. Advert for WWE ice cream bars using Becky Lynch and John Cena. Those most current of superstars. Oh, and Roman Reigns as well, who's also all over the programming at the moment as well.
Oh, well.
Chris asks a really good question. So Chris asks what we think of the stipulation change in Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. Right, I'll tell you what I think. First of all, I think the hair versus hair stipulation was pretty shockingly bad in the first place. Not because it's a bad stipulation in the first place, but because they didn't really sell it. Because Mandy Rose is, objectively a very beautiful woman. And if you lose her hair, it grows back. Sonya Deville would look like an absolute badass with shaved hair. Now, so it wasn't, on paper it was a good stipulation, but in reality it didn't really mean that much. Now, obviously what happened last weekend, I'm not going to go into the weeds on that one, but it was a horrific real life situation. And I would not have been remotely surprised if they cancelled the match full stop, because fuck me, imagine going through that. It sounds like something out of a horror film. Obviously Sonya needs some time off. Again, 100% understandably. So they were right to change the stipulation to give her that out. And of course, if you don't know any of that, if you're not coming into it and you don't know the real life behind it, and here we go, it's on screen. It's probably a better stipulation anyway, because the stakes are higher. So I think in real life it's a win, and I think in kayfabe terms it's a win as well. What do you think? You asked the question. You tell me what you think. What do you think as well, Rob?
I think if you go into it, again, from someone that's not watching all the time every week and just picking up on bits and bobs here and there, the character, the characters are the wrong way around. The reason for doing a hair versus hair match is that the pretty little one is embarrassed by losing her hair, but Mandy's the babyface, and you're right. And Sonya would look amazing with short hair. So actually, it is a match which punishes. You do it to punish the trappy, prissy heel, and their characters. I'm not saying their characters are the wrong way around, but they're the wrong way around for that stipulation. If Sonya was the babyface trying to get her own back on this horrible, slaggy character, then it would be brilliant, and it wouldn't matter which one of them lost their hair.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's weird. It was a weird dynamic, and I just think if they'd have started off with this loser leaves WWE, it would have worked. It would have absolutely been the right stipulation, the right call. And what about Otis, man? Related, I'm going to answer my own question here because the answer is no. But has there ever been a Money in the Bank briefcase holder that has been forgotten about in such a way that Otis has? Otis is a good, fun character, but he's no more than that. And obviously, I think the unwritten reason why he was off TV is that either he or Mandy or someone involved in that storyline contracted COVID-19. You know, when there was that big spike with all of them in WWE, there was a few guys that just went off TV straight away. Guys, we've got a bit of an echo on someone's line.
It's me. I was just going to say, is it? Let me just put this in.
And it just cut the momentum off. But it's weird that they've just kept him as a bit of an afterthought since then. So, you know, that might be strategic, or it might be that they just don't know what to do with him. But the Money in the Bank briefcases, Money in the Bank meant so little this year as an event anyway, and the briefcases meant even less. Sorry, I couldn't get two ments out at once then. So I've not got anything more to add to that, Chris.
Yeah, the only thing I can think on that one is my hope would be maybe it's let's let people forget about it, so that when he does then cash it in, because apparently I've not seen everything. Sometimes he's got the briefcase, sometimes he's not. So it's kind of oh yeah, he's got it, but has he? And then when he does cash it in, it will be worthwhile.
You'll never see it coming.
Well, there you go. But if you've forgotten about it too much, you've lost people to care for it. So,
yeah, no, I think that sums it up quite nicely. So, who do we think? Let's. Oh, look, it's Victoria. Oh no, it's not. It's Sonia.
Yeah, it definitely looks very Victoria-ish, doesn't it?
She looks great now. She looks like a star now. She didn't look like that 6 months ago.
Absolutely. I agree.
Big star.
She's like a killer.
Big star. She's got so much potential in this. And look at her. All credit. This is live, isn't it? So absolutely fair play for it to come out. The what must be on her mind at the moment? And look at that. She is an absolute superstar in the making.
She really is.
Babyface, and then let's call a spade as well. You know, she's one of the rare out gay superstars, and that means something. In terms of her representation of her community, that absolutely means something. And I think she's going to be such a role model going forward. What is Mandy wearing?
My goodness, I was just thinking the same thing, but I wasn't going to say anything because I didn't want to appear to be rude. But that's a weird looking outfit.
Yeah. Mandy Rose sporting an amalgamation of a Real Madrid 2018-2019 kit and I don't know what.
Looks like a bathing costume that doesn't fit somewhere, so they've just covered it up and worn something else underneath it. It's exactly what it is, I think. That's weird.
I think this goes to show I like Mandy a lot. I think she's awesome. I think she's great. But I just think that Sonia is just a level above. I think she's got such a great grasp of this character. Since she's been able to vibe off her former best friend. I just think she's, whatever Shayna Baszler is and whatever Rhea Ripley is, I think Sonya Deville has got way more potential than both.
I would love to see. I don't think they'll do it, but wouldn't you love to see at some point? Because by the way, I am not knocking. I'm not knocking Trish, and I'm not knocking anyone of that era, and I'm not knocking your Asukas and your Baileys and your whatever. But imagine having three top women that were Rhea, Sonya, and Shayna. They were just three massive badasses that you believe that look great, that are just. It would be their version of Rock Triple H Austin, where you had three blokes wearing black trunks kicking the shit out of one another. No gimmicks, no extras, just men that looked like they were fighting. And I'm not knocking women, but generally speaking, women's wrestling, not just in this company, but in all of them, is the best it's ever been. The talent pool is so deep, it's unbelievable. But I'd love to see a very short era where you had those three on the top. It won't happen because none of them can talk enough. But, it'd be brilliant fun.
Yeah, I'd add Asuka to that as well. I think if Asuka toned down the outfits and the screaming a little bit, she could be a killer as well. Fit right into that. It could be between.
By the way, mate. Oh, sorry, Steve.
Sorry, go ahead.
Rob, since you took your headset off, Rob, and you're charging up your sound has gone absolutely awful, mate. It's.
All right.
Can you move close to the thing?
Take me out then, because my headset's run out, so my battery's run out. So take me out, and I'll come back when it's charged up.
10 minutes, all right. Because I wouldn't say it normally, but it's so bad, it's kind of hurting. It's kind of painful. 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
All right, mate. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. Hang on.
Oh God!
See
Thank God! Thank God he's gone. You know, thank God. And his ridiculous opinion. No, I'm kidding, mate. Rob's my best buddy, man. Rob has been there on the journey from day one with Hooked On. What's this?
I think he's trying to wind us up by putting himself back into the conversation.
Quite possibly.
The geezer.
See, I'd suggested he needed to go and get a drink, but it was purely to try and get rid of him. That's all I was suggesting. So.
Well, it's a good solution. It's a good solution. What we really need to do, Chris, is,
oh my God,
is
please
basically,
stop.
Mandy, you came and you screwed up the table.
Please stop.
And you put it away, oh Mandy.
Was that a pint glass of wine you had, mate?
No, but I'm just singing Barry Manilow sound-alikes. Oh, Mandy.
Poorly merit.
I thought it was quite good as an improv, actually. I quite like that. Chris Higginson is the Hooked on Wrestling Elimination Chamber. So what do we reckon? Who's next gone? Let's have a vote. Who do we vote off Hooked on Island next? Hooked on Wrestling Island. Who gets the next vote off? Who gets to go and make sure their cats haven't murdered anything and left the entrails on the dining room floor?
I'm the one who doesn't give out enough bonus points on the quiz on the Sunday, so it's going to be me that goes next. People
genuinely hate you, Chris. Nobody hates you more than me and Rob because you make us look bad by being so cool at those quizzes. So if you were to ever get stabbed in the back like Brutus and Julius Caesar style, look to Plymouth and York first, because you absolutely. If you don't watch our quiz, by the way, Chris comes in and does his cameos and does the massive amount of work behind the scenes in tabulating the scores. And then all he does is come in, wear a daft costume, do a daft impression, and every fucker loves him. He's got his own T-shirt, like Hatchamania T-shirt. I haven't got my own T-shirt. Rob hasn't got his own T-shirt. And hey, Hassan, it's really lovely that you advocate piracy. But see you, dude. Oh no, I've pressed delete comment and I meant to put block user. So if you could please make another comment, then I will block user. That would be much better because my background is TV broadcast rights. I feed my family through selling television, and content creators getting their fair shake. So if you want to pirate content, you are coming to the wrong place, my friend, because I am going to ban your bitch ass.
Number one football.
Yeah, so sorry about that, but it's a bit of a bugbear of mine.
This is part of the whole Hooked On philosophy of it's wrestling, enjoy it.
It is.
It's got to be enjoyable for everyone.
Are we enjoying this? Oh, crossface chicken wing. Are we? Oh, hang on. What is that?
Wow, that's like a dragon sleeper, but
not seen one of them in a long time.
You don't get many of them to the pound, do you? Oh no, it's all right. My network's come back on. It's all good.
Yeah, mine went out as well. It's not just you.
Just for half a second. So who's winning this thing, guys? Are we all in agreement in the chat that Sonia's winning this? Are we? Is this a foregone conclusion?
I reckon
it needs time off.
Yeah, circumstances to one side, I think that still makes more sense. But the way the stipulation came in so last minute, I think it does make it a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
Liam thinks Mandy's winning. Oh no, shit! That's what I meant. I meant Sonia's going. Sorry, I think Sonia's taking a leave of absence. What's she got written on her boots? What does it say? Oh, Rose.
That's logical, isn't it?
Mandy Rose, I know we slated her 1920s Victorian bather outfit, but sneakily, Mandy's not a bad worker, is she? Like, I think it's very easy to dismiss her because of what she looks like. But she plays her role really quite well. And she's never going to be, she's never going to be Asuka. She's never going to, work in a ring, and she's never going to be, NXT level, 2015 Brooklyn. But you believe in her, don't you? And you like what she does, and she's pretty cool.
She sells really well. She's really good at selling what's going on, and it's a struggle, and she's trying to beat the odds, and she sells that really well. But yeah, like you say, she's never going to be a world beater, but she's good. She's fine. There's nothing wrong with her.
As Liam says, she's no Eva Marie. But as Rob was saying before we managed to get rid of him, that the women's division the quality is just so high. Like you look back at what we previously perceived as the glory days, and it's just like it's not even comparable compared to now. And it's like I put a post on the Twitter the other day. And it was basically to the gist of there's all, over the last 3 or 4 years, we're conditioned to the women's division making headlines. First ever Hell in a Cell match, first ever Iron Woman match, first ever TLC match, first ever Royal Rumble, whatever. The real true testament to how successful this women's division is they don't make headlines anymore. Having women headline a pay-per-view isn't headline worthy. And that says more than any headline possibly could, because it's normalized. And these guys have normalized it because they are just absolutely awesome.
And we're on a pay-per-view of 8 matches, and we've got 3 women's matches, all with a logical story behind them. It's not, let's chuck the women's match on the card because we've got to. It's 3 out of 8, and it all makes massive sense.
They all deserve to be there. And I'm just laughing at Trev's comment. He's just been to the 24-hour garage, and he's basically subjected the poor person behind the screen to watch us 3 gabbering on about Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. You should go back there, Trev, and pay them double, because that is grossly unfair, making them watch me, Chris, and Steve this time of night, as well as having to work a night shift. That is not on, my friend. I'm
amazed anyone's been able to stay with us for 5 hours so far.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I've only had 1 toilet break. Pradeep makes a really good point. You remember when the women's match was literally, I mentioned toilet breaks. It was literally the toilet break match before the main event, and that's what it was. And that's all they were good for. And you didn't see my inverted commas there because they're off screen, but that was it. And it's not difficult to understand where they used to come from in terms of the women division. And all right, it's cynical. They push women now because it's the right thing to do. Business-wise, it's great. But, that's the way of the world. Big companies make decisions based on how much money it's going to make them rather than how right on they are, for the most part. But who cares? Because these women have forced the hand into doing that. And, they'd still make the decision, even if it was... What's Chris got his face on that? Chris?
Your reaction to the last...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there it is.
I wasn't watching. I was too busy pontificating, which is the story of my life, basically. But that's I've got a prediction right. Who can believe it? I have got a prediction right. Oh, Dean Dinos, you sent me a photo on WhatsApp. What's he sent me? Let's have a look. It's the Bret the Hitman Hart t-shirt. Dean, it's an awesome shirt. I'm going to try and get it in the chat. You got it to us a little bit too late to pump through tonight, but I will do it on the Hooked on Wrestling socials in the morning. And we had a little too many moving parts to add an extra t-shirt to the mix at the end. That was awesome. Sonia, you will be back, and you will be a massive star.
Hang on a minute. Wait.
Oh my goodness me. So you guys are you guys way ahead of me? Because someone said, Jesus, there was 5 of them.
I have no idea what that was.
No.
I'm currently watching Otis with Mandy on his shoulders celebrating.
Yep.
If that's not Randy and Liz, then what is, eh?
Oh, God.
I'm watching Mandy doing the worm. That's something for you to look forward to in a minute.
That's the worst worm ever, Mandy. Mandy, I could do that. That's not the worm. That's the donkey.
That's what that bird was doing earlier when your cat attacked it.
Oh my God, mate! Don't even go there. I think I need therapy for that. That noise will live with me forever. What is he doing? Oh, he's eating a dead carcass. Pradeep, photos or it didn't happen, my friend. You have a work colleague that looks exactly like Bray Wyatt. I would love to see that. What's this? What we got here? So, right, are we ready to bring Rob back in yet?
I reckon so. I reckon. Oh, he's got a beer as well, by the way.
Well, it's kind of up to Rob. It's not. It depends how much. He's got a well-deserved break. Look, I'll be honest, right? When Rob was starting both of those big interviews he did today with the Hearts at the various points, I felt for him so bad because they were hard work, right? If you guys aren't, I'm a journalist by trade. Rob is a journalist by teaching. Rob is a journalist by trade. Those interviews were tough, right? They were not forthcoming. And I tell you what, you might not notice it as a viewer, but the skill Rob used to eke great interviews out of Diana and then Georgia and Harry, that wasn't an accident. Like, Rob brought those guys to Nance because they were not good interviews. Lovely people, great stories to tell, but it was hard to get out of them. I wouldn't have managed it. Rob, and I was cringing for Rob, and I even part of the Diana one, I said, Rob, let's just end this quick because it's bad. But luckily, Rob ignored me, as he tends to do when it comes to talking. He completely ignored me, and he was absolutely right to do so in the end because it was phenomenal. Like, really, really, really ended well. So, like, massive credit to Rob. Oh, look, he's putting his headphones on again now. I'm giving him some praise. Look at that. Oh, yeah. That's coincidental timing, isn't it?
I've been listening. Have you been slagging me off?
Yes, consistently. And everyone in the comments has been saying the same thing. Everyone has been backing us up. Basically, amateur hour, just not good. The weak link, really.
No, sorry about that.
You heard what we were saying, mate. Don't make me repeat it.
Yeah, I did. To be fair, right, I will say actually it was if we want to do a inside the actors studio style thing, the Diana interview was harder because her connection was rubbish. I don't think she was plenty forthcoming in talking. It was just we were struggling to hear what she was saying because the connection was quite well. From my end, anyway, the connection was really bad, and I was struggling. But the more it went on, it got better, and she was happy to talk. Actually, I didn't have a lot to say to her. She was doing long answers. It was just a bit frustrating that I couldn't really hear her to begin with, but it got better. The second one with Harry and Georgia, I think to begin with, first of all, they were in the same room, and they were put off by the fact that there was a bit of echo on each other's machines. Then I think they just got lost in watching it.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit of they didn't really know how to talk because they were watching it. And I get the feeling, see, we watch these kind of matches all the time and we're fans and we're dead into it. They probably haven't watched that for years. And in their heads they sort of go, oh shit, and they forget how much they enjoy watching their dad. I know, I do exactly the same when I find an old episode, of the big match live or something when my dad was playing for Brentford or something, and I'll completely get lost in watching my dad play football. So I can understand where they were coming from. And I think it was a bit of that. They just won. It's very nice of you to praise me for it, and I certainly did my best. I stuck at it, but we got there in the end. That's the main thing. It's just a little. Sometimes you said about the skill of being a journalist and doing an interview. Sometimes it's just leaving gaps and just giving people time to speak and not just talking all over them and asking them stupid stuff. You just have to give them time to warm up. Do you know what Gorilla Monsoon used to say about Greg Valentine? You have to beat him up for 20 minutes before he starts getting interested. Well, some people need just time to talk, and then they get into a position where you can get a bit more out of them. Sarah's just said in the chat there, Harry looked like he was going to cry. Well, he was choking up towards the end, but so was Georgia. And to be fair, they did really get me towards the end. It was really heartwarming to see them, enjoying what their old man used to do.
I was massively impressed / surprised with Harry because I don't know, maybe it's my preconceptions. I imagine Harry is very much like his father in that he's not particularly fond of public speaking. He's a bit aloof. I don't mean that in a particularly bad way, but it's just he's not a talker. When was the last time you heard Harry do a talk like that live. And when he came on, I don't know if you noticed, I noticed because I shit my pants. He looked like he wanted to beat the shit out of us. Like his facial expressions were not good. They were not comfortable. He looked like he would rather be anywhere else but sat on that sofa talking to us. But he just softened completely. Like, and obviously it was, it wasn't Rob. It wasn't, Rob helped lead it along, but it was more the match and the occasion rather than Rob's chat. But by the end of it, well, halfway through it, he had such a grin on his face. He was a child again. Honestly, I was so moved. I was so moved by seeing this big, tough, hard guy just lose himself in the moment and become, and watching his father make him proud. His late father, who is. I'm tearing myself up just thinking about it.
When it comes to certain podcasts and stuff, and you often hear that. You often find that a lot of the better podcasts that have been around over the last few years have been done by wrestlers, as opposed to people like us doing interviews. And sometimes that's because of the wrestler's particular skill, but it's also a lot to do with whoever they're interviewing trusts them.
Oh,
so whether they've worked with them for 20 years or whether they just know them by attitude, you're going to listen to, Stone Cold Steve Austin or Chris Jericho, aren't you, or Colt Cabana. You're going to go, I respect this guy enough, and they let their guard down. Whereas if they're talking to any of us, for example, they don't really know us, and there's a guard up. You have to win their trust over a little bit of time, depending on who they are. Of course, we've spoken, Paul, you and I tonight have spoken to Val and to Nick and to Doug and whatever, but they know us. We can do that because we've already got, started a relationship with them, and we can talk to them. They don't have that kind of who the hell am I talking to now thing about them. But I think it took a little bit of a time for Harry in particular to bed in. I've met George a couple of times. I've only met Harry once years ago, and I think that was part of it. But I think you're right. It was the match that did it. It was just listening to them or watching them. I'm sorry, just sort of swell up with pride. I thought that was the coolest thing of all.
Mate, just to, we will come back to this, but just to change the subject, is that the greatest ring gear of all time that Seth Rollins is wearing, or is it just the best ring gear of all time?
You
for those that
heard me,
I heard you gasp, and that's what made me look.
I'm trying to work out what it is. I think it could be a.
I know exactly what it is.
Tribute.
It's Rey Mysterio's gear from when he did the ladder match with Eddie Guerrero and Halloween Havoc 1995 or 97. So basically, Rey's most famous great match.
Fantastic.
Seth Rollins is wearing his gear. What an absolute bastard of a man Seth Rollins is, right? Seth Rollins is the greatest heel in wrestling, bar none. And I'm so devastated for him that he's having to do this without a crowd in place, because I can guarantee, I don't often speak so confidently about stuff that is in ring. If Seth Rollins had been doing the last 6 months' work in front of a crowd, Seth Rollins would be having to wear a bulletproof vest, because Seth Rollins has been absolutely... I tell you what it's like. It's straight edge society CM Punk, and I'm not just saying that because it's a similar sort of gimmick. It's a similar sort of delivery of that gimmick. It's a similar sort of skill level delivery of that gimmick. CM Punk in that guy has managed to make everybody hate him. And remember how much people loved CM Punk. We all, Ring of Honor fans. We were all like, even when he was a heel, we secretly loved CM Punk. But when he was in the straight edge society, every single one of us despised the hypocritical little bastard, right? For everything he did.
Do you know what? CM Punk's best feud when he was part of the Straight Edge Society was with Rey
Mysterio. Yes, it was. You're absolutely right.
When he sang Happy Birthday to the little girl.
Yeah, oh God,
creepy as hell.
And look at Seth Rollins there, man. He is he's come out. He spent 1 second on that ramp. We've seen his gear, and we already despise him.
You know what he's done? Do you know what he's done? Just coming out in that gear, he's made me interested in this match.
I think this is my top match. I think this is my top match on the card, to be honest, mate. I just think
interested in this match, or I wasn't, and now I am a little bit.
Well, there you go. Job done. Job done. I just think Seth Rollins, and I did not like Seth Rollins as a face. Not that impressed, just didn't do it at all. But Seth Rollins, since he became the Monday Night Messiah, has just been, honestly, one of my top 5 favorite heels of all time. And tonight cements it. Like that gear it's just look at him. It's just amazing. So but going back to Harry and Georgia, are you still with us, guys? By the way, I'm quite conscious that we're just talking at you at the moment. But those Harry and Georgia,
the people in the chat room. You mean the people in the chat room?
Sorry, I do mean the people in the chat room. Yeah. But those Harry and Georgia interviews was just so amazing because just to shed a bit of light on I mentioned it after the interview, but SummerSlam 92 was, my parents divorced in 1990, I think it was. And I didn't have a great relation with my dad. My dad was, I won't put too fine a point in it. My dad was an alcoholic, which is why they split up. And he very soon, somewhere between they split up and SummerSlam 92, he realized that he was on the verge of losing his family and his kids, not just his wife, but losing his kids because of how he acted. And SummerSlam 92 came about because he forgot to buy me a Survivor Series 1990 VHS because he was drinking. And I was so upset that the only way to make it up with me was to take me to Survivor Series 1992. Sorry, I'm mixed up. SummerSlam 1992. And so we bought these tickets. They weren't that expensive then. I think they were about £15 each, but it was more of a commitment. But the point was, he took me, and honestly, that was the first day of my life that he wasn't drinking. It was just me and my dad, and we just absolutely bonded massively. So when I see Harry and Georgia, talking about their father on SummerSlam 92 like that, it gets me. And it's not an act. It's not just what I'm saying because they're our guests. That was one of the most pivotal days in my life, and the most pivotal day in the relationship with my father. So it's so personal to me. So I can't tell you how much it meant to me to hear all that. And I'm waffling now, but it is the best thing Hooked on Wrestling I've ever done and will ever do. So yeah, someone else is going to have to say something now because that's me.
That's beautiful, dude. Beautiful.
Yeah, really good, really good. There's no real way to follow that. Obviously there were a lot of great points in that interview, but there was one point in particular that got me where Rob asked a question and Harry was listening, but then a move happened and he just sat there and went, wow. And you could see the gleam in his eye. And then I think about 10 seconds later, he realized, shit, I'm on a stream here. I need to, and he started talking mechanics of that section of the match. Now that's another side you wouldn't hear. And it came from him having that personal moment with it as well. And that's what made it all so unique. And Harry is such a quiet guy because I worked with him on a show over 10 years ago, maybe nearer 15, when he was very young. And he was the quiet guy when you met him, the quiet guy in the changing room, and then gradually came out of his shell. And that's
nice.
Exactly what we saw tonight.
Chris, did you ever work with Tyler Black before he became Seth Rollins?
No, that's not one that I got a chance to.
There goes that story.
Yeah.
Next time I ask you that, Chris, just make it up, mate. Make it up.
One, yeah.
I've got Tyler Black story. Have I told it on the podcast?
Go on.
I'll do it really quickly, otherwise I can be here forever. But years ago, I used to have quite a good relationship with Ring of Honor in terms of doing interviews with them. And when Dave Lagana was there, and he used to send me the cut of the show, like before it had been graded and stuff, like a couple of days before it went live, and I used to watch it. And he used to set up interviews for me. This was when I was still working at the Sun. And but the Sun would only really run interviews if they were with someone that had a bit of profile, so they had to have been like an ex-WWE or TNA guy. They wouldn't take like the Briscoes or something.
Yeah.
And Haas and Benjamin were both working there. So I requested them. This is when they were doing IE pay-per-views. So I wanted Haas or Benjamin for an interview, and neither of them would get back to me, and I was really struggling. I think the show was Saturday night. And like Tuesday afternoon, I emailed Lagana and went, I'm not going to be able to do your interview because there's no time for it. I'm not going to be able to turn around quick enough unless I literally do in the next couple of hours. And neither Charlie Haas or Shelton Benjamin are getting back to me. And my phone rang within 2 hours, and I answered it, and I didn't recognise the voice. And I said, sorry, who is this? And he said, hi, this is Colby Lopez, a.k.a. Tyler Black. Lagana had said to him, would you mind sorting this out? And he rang me inside 2 hours and said, I can do it now if you like. And it was the best. I had to ring him back and sorry, I'll do it through Skype or whatever. But he was the loveliest fella. I've never met him in person, but he was brilliant getting back to me and doing it. And it was right before he went to WWE. So if you remember his last match, he was champion. I was against Roderick Strong. He was champion, and he went to do like one of his signature moves, but he didn't. He did a "You Can't See Me" and put an STF on, and was playing up the fact that he was leaving. It was really cool. So it was that's my little Tyler Black story. This is a really good match, by the way.
It's a really nice match.
Dominic's got some nice mechanics. He's good at the arm drags. He's good at the old spelling. He can do the flippy stuff. I just wish he'd lose that hood off his ring gear because it's spoiling things. But apart from that, he's great. It's been all right.
You're a picky man, aren't you?
I have my
if you're doing the ring gear, I don't like the fact that he's got DM on the back of it. I know it stands for Dominic Mysterio, but I think DM to me is Danger Mouse.
Or Dr. Martins.
Well, that's because you're 38. Because to people who are younger than us, mate, it'd be slide into our DMs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I suppose it would be. I know Stevie just said Dr. Martins.
Slide into my Danger Mouse.
And watch my pen fold.
Chris, can you go to the toilet, Chris? Because I need it too, and you've dagged it first. So...
Mate, go. Rob told the story. Rob told the story. Said I'm going to be quick, so I went, and I was still back for the end of the story because I know
you bar steward, right? So I'm gonna. And I'm here basically tying a knot in it. So right, I'm also going to change this T-shirt because white is not my colour. So I'm going to put my hooked on shirt back on. So I'll be back.
I like the fact that actually a second that I was about to say that will change the screen. But over your left shoulder, Stevie, it looks like it's basically about 6 o'clock in the morning. Are you secretly in like Kuala Lumpur or something watching this?
Secretly in Japan. No, that's my my daylight lamp. It sort of just brightens things up. But yeah, trust me, it's dark out there.
Let's do a little bit on the match here because I love the story that they've told here, which is that Seth is clearly better than Ray, better than Dominic at wrestling. But Dominic is so fired up. Oh, sweet! He's so fired up for it. And this is like a one-in-a-lifetime. Do you know what this reminds me of? The emotion.
Very nice.
I haven't got the sound on, and there's no crowd, obviously. No, the emotion of this reminds me of. Do you remember the match that they did with the Rhodes brothers when Dusty was in their corner?
Yeah.
At the tag about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah. Oh,
it feels like that.
That is one heck of a DDT you just gave him there.
This is the thing, and there's a great story of this is a guy we're seeing for the first time. Yes, Seth is the better wrestler, but you still believe it's not a foregone conclusion what the result's going to be.
It's a bit of an FA Cup tie, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the League Two side. Yeah, the League Two side are at home, and they've just they've gone 1-0 up, and they've got a chance. You still think that the Premier League side will get it back, but we've all seen, haven't we, when the lower league team gets in front and on a shit pitch when the Premier League can't put 5 passes together.
I've never seen the League Two team use a kendo stick, though, to be honest.
Well, you've never watched Wickham. I don't know if they're in the Championship now, but that's how they got there.
And the other thing I'll say is I was with Steve on not really caring, even with the gear, but they've drawn me in, and I'll give them that. Oh, let's see who's showing off in the bottom right corner, shall we?
It's a child's title belt from Smith's Toys. It costs about a tenner. It's my little boys. I promised him I'd show it, and I also promised I'd show him. Rob will like this. I did promise I'd show Samuel's tournament.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Samuel booked his own tournament. Samuel's 6 years old. I won't bore you with the details, but he's basically booked a tournament that starts with, I'll read you the 8 combatants: Hulk Hogan, Brock Lesnar, Tatanka, Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, The Fiend, John Cena, and Kane. Right, and the tournament is for the WWE Interplanetary Championship that he came up with all by himself. And Tatanka makes it out of the first round, actually. In fact, he makes it to the semi-finals and loses to Hulk Hogan. The final is Kane over Hulk Hogan, and Kane is your champion. So I'm just going to shut my door as well, so I'm not waking up the house up. But well done, Samuel, for booking a credible and awesome tournament. Sorry.
Good use.
Sorry.
Did you get told off?
Yeah.
Did you get told off? Naughty bastard.
Yeah. I forgot to close the door. And my
You were
wife
telling
came
everybody
down and
that-
told me off.
the good thing is, if Sally's quite right to come and tell you off, but at least you were telling a lovely story about your son and not talking. You weren't going falling over Mandy Rose or something. So it was a good moment for Sally to come in. Kudos to Samuel for using the word interplanetary, by the way, which I haven't heard since the Carpenters did calling all objects of interplanetary craft. It's a good word for a 6-year-old to use.
Well, he knows his shit. He's what's going on here? What is going on? Let's have a little look at this match.
It's a
very good.
I don't normally approve of the needless use of weapons and causing injury like this, but if you're going to do it properly. And they're doing it really, really well here. This is a really good... Ray, by the way, on the outside, has been tremendous, looking like a dad that's watching his son get beaten up, which is exactly what is happening.
Can I just, by the way, as much as we praise Seth Rollins and Dominic's ring gear, how much of a dweeb does Buddy Murphy look?
Yeah, brilliant. He looks like an idiot.
Absolutely. Oh, look, he's struggling with tables as well. Are tables not able to be assembled in the Thunderdome? Is that part of the rule? There's like maybe too much gravity and they can't get tables up. Is that what it is in the Thunderdome?
Making the wrong people use them. Definitely making the wrong people use them.
There was just a moment there where Seth was standing to one side where you couldn't see all of what it says on his trousers or his ring gear, and it looked like it said Monday Night Messi. Like he's a sort of diminutive player that plays off the front two or something like that.
Love it. Hold on.
Who was the Champions League, by the way?
Who did? I have no idea.
I forgot the Champions League finals. Who won the finals? Have a look.
Oh, Bayern won. Spoilers.
Well, it's hardly a shock, is it?
No. I heard reports that it was a particularly boring game.
Well, finals normally are.
Yeah.
1-0 to Bayern. 59th minute. Is 59th minute the most boring time to score a goal in the history of the world as well? It is like the most boring time to score. And it was Kingsley Coman who scored it. Right, okay, fine. We've done the football. By the way, guys, we are lining up Sarah to come and join us on the Braun Strowman versus The Fiend match. Is anybody else that wants to come and join as a special guest tonight? We've never done this before. We've never had fans on. We are off piece tonight. What the hell? We'll have a few drinks. It's all a good night.
Oh.
We're so happy. Oh, it's the Sandman special. Sandman special through a table.
Paul's just deleted Rob.
Oh, bye, Rob. There was no. I haven't deleted Rob. I told him his sound was still awful, so he's probably deleted himself to come back and try and sort it out.
Definitely a good idea.
That hood is not. Do you remember when his father was at WrestleMania 21 against Eddie Guerrero, which should have been a great match, and all he did was fiddle with his mask for the whole thing? This is a bit similar to that, isn't it?
It's worth.
It's one of our bugbears over here when you see someone that's clearly just got new gear, and every move it's hit move, make cover, pull up gear, hit move, make cover, pull up gear, and you can spot it a mile off.
Mandy Rose was doing it too. She kept pulling down her pants line, didn't she, throughout the whole match because she had new gear. Rob, talk to us, my friend.
Well, I'm hoping that my sound's a bit better. You were telling me my sound.
Way.
I'm not quite sure what was happening there, folks. But
I think you didn't have your microphone on your headset. You'd accidentally set it to your speaker.
I think you're right. I think you're right. You were coming through the headset right enough, but yeah, I think I was still talking to you through the computer. So
I did the same earlier. I did exactly the same thing earlier.
You did because just before we did the watch along, me and Chris were echoing, and when we were talking, it was coming back again. But we got through it.
Yeah, we did.
Whoa,
so
shitting hell! What a power bomb!
It was a brutal super kick and a brutal power bomb.
Oh, I've just seen that power bomb. Holy fucking Jackanory.
Can I extend my
as well? It was really nice seeing Tito Santana. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it?
For that.
Do you know what was really funny? I was emailing Tito and he asked me to send him the full card of SummerSlam 1992. So I turned to my wife and said, what sort of weird parallel universe I'm living in where I have to send El Matador the SummerSlam 92 card, and I managed to write it out by memory. I didn't miss a single match. I was like, this is just weird. Life is strange.
The first thing I said when I saw him was, "It's Chico."
I'm so pleased he said Ariba at the end. You ought to have seen the smile on my face when that video came through and he went, Ariba. So fucking yes.
Couldn't leave that out, could you?
Absolutely not. This is going to end in a weird way. This is going to end in Ray is acting weird.
Do you think it's going to end in a stoppage? Do you think the ref will stop it? And
no, I don't think so, because it's no DQ. Ray's going to do something weird. I love that gear. Seth Rollins, you are the man.
You'll never see
it come. Think Ray will interfere on his son's behalf and end up costing him the match, and then Dominic then joins Seth in about 2 weeks' time or something.
Well, he doesn't even. I've heard loads of rumors of that, but why does he need to join Seth? Like, every feud has to have an end, so why not have this feud transition into Mysterio versus Mysterio? Why does Dominic have to be a disciple of Seth? It sets him up on the wrong foot. Why can't he just be pissed off with his dad for costing him his moment? By the way, free drink at the next Hooked On party for anyone that managed to see the first bum hole on the video screens, because someone is definitely going to get their ass out, aren't they?
If we're playing Spot the Arsehole.
Rob, that's not very neighbourly of you.
Cheers,
the missus is out now. Mrs. M.
Oh, it's Vicky Guerrero part 2. Rey Mysterio's not going heel, is he? This isn't like You
think Ray would turn on his son?
No, I don't think he'd turn on his son, but I think he might turn heel by not letting him not letting him throw in a towel, basically insisting he carries on against every fatherly instinct. Do you know what I mean? Once thinks he's doing the right thing.
Oh, they're doing the eye thing.
At least we don't have to see the eye pop out this time.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That was so ludicrous, wasn't it?
It was the worst thing on WWE TV this year.
It's a shame because this is quite good, and if you had to explain how we got to this point, and you've got to go through the eye for an eye thing.
Yeah, there's only a couple of things that have made me turn wrestling off through this era, and it was that, and when a dumpster monster appeared.
It was that and the WWE.
That was when they were at their peak wank, wasn't it? Like
peak wank.
Giant ninjas and dumpster monster.
That sounds like a Pokemon.
Peak wank.
What I call a peak wank.
Peak wank. Peak wank. Oh, what's happening here?
The most useless handcuffs in the world are being used on Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah. As bad as the show I did over here where we had a handcuff in each corner and the key was used to open them every 3 minutes or whatever to do a budget elimination chamber, and they all just fell off straight away. So the rest were there holding them to their wrists just to keep it up.
With the extra long chain links, so if they go behind your back, you can still get them around your legs.
What's this? Oh, he's not. He's not. Oh, he is. Oh, this is god level stuff. This is brilliant. This is just so good. Buddy Murphy's like, just go for it, lad. Just go for it.
Wouldn't it be epic if she does like a Hurricane Rana on him or something?
This is good shit. It's
really good shit. It's really good.
You don't want too many garbage brawls like this, but when you're going to do it, this is WWE at its absolute best.
I don't know how there's a guy asleep in the front row.
I am.
Sweet.
Guy in the bed.
Oh yeah, he is as well. I had seen that.
Oh, 619 on the floor. I am so impressed with this whole pay-per-view. I was totally excited about this event, and I think so far, what we 4 matches in, halfway through, it has lived up to every single expectation. It's just brilliant. What we got left of this? We got another women's match. We got Sasha against Asuka, the 2 world title matches, and what else we got? What's the other one? Oh, the Apollo MVP.
No, that was
on the pre-show.
Oh, was it?
True.
So there's only 7 matches on the pay-per-view then.
I don't know, but the Apollo beat MVP.
Right. Oh, okay. Boring.
Decent match though.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but it was just as I was flicking the network on in the last vestiges of the Val interviews, I was getting the show ready to go on the screen. I caught the end of the thing.
This is outstanding stuff. Look at this.
Just quickly again on the screens around the outside. I tell you, there's a real interesting mix between the kind of people that are on it. Some people like really, really into the match, and some people trying to get themselves over.
Well, yeah, wankers. Guys, on the chat, this is one for you on the chat particularly. I'm a massive fan of the, oh, he's done it. He has done it. The audio to me is so important to create an atmosphere. I'm not really listening to this because I'm listening to the guys and to everything else. Has the audio does it feel like a WWE event, or does it feel quiet? I genuinely don't know. I can hear the in-ring action, but I can't hear I can hear a general hubbub behind.
I've got the sound off, but even just visually, I like. I wonder if are they being told to do that? There, do you think loads of people doing the thumbs down? Are they being told to do that?
There are basically set rules. They've basically said react, basically be part of the action, and I think what they've got is they're willing to cut people off if they don't, and then they can just repeat it, can't they? Because if someone's like stood on the screen and they have to turn a screen off, they can just put a good screen somewhere else, can't they? Because unless the 2 doubles next to each other, who's going to notice?
Yeah, Scooby-Doo background.
Yeah, exactly. Audio is good, Pradeep says. That's awesome, man. I'm so impressed with WWE. Like, I could almost say, I've never been prouder, because like putting on a show like this this could be the future, right? This could be the absolute future. This feels like an event. This feels like the biggest event of the year, and like it's essentially an empty arena.
Yeah, and the thing was, okay, WrestleMania wasn't a WrestleMania. We know that.
No.
They did what they had to do to make it happen. This is their next big opportunity, and they're blowing everyone away with it.
I do think it's amazing. Like, I do not want to turn this into a WWE versus AEW thing, but when this whole pandemic thing started, there's no question AEW came out the blocks flying and left WWE absolutely in the dust. And they were way better. Like, the way they did the camera angles, the way they did the extras in the crowd, it made WWE look so small time. And they must have been so embarrassed. But I suppose the difference between a company that's 5 minutes old and a company that's 60, 70 years old is that they're willing to play the long game. Like, WWE have probably had this in the pipeline. You don't plan this in a week. They've probably been negotiating and trying to work this out and get it sorted. And ultimately, this is a million times better than what AEW are putting on. That's not a knock on AEW. It's just the way it is. And I just suppose it's like, everyone who's so willing to throw WWE under the bus for the last 2 months, what they've really been doing is planning for this. I might be being generous because, I've been a WWE fan for 30 years, and I'll always be pre-positioned to be a WWE fan. But this is awesome. This is awesome. And Malcolm's right. It won't make any money at the gate, but what it will do is keep the interest level and the perception up, because you put those shows in the Performance Center as they have for the last 4 months, and there's no surprise why the crowds have been going. Why the TV viewership's going down, because it's not wrestling. and why would you bother watching it? But this is a different kettle of fish entirely. This will keep their audience until it's time to get the stuff back. So impressed, man. So impressed.
Timing as well. To launch it a few days before SummerSlam. To not do it 2 or 3 weeks ago. To do it now while it's still fresh. You know, and actually, because you soon get used to this. It's nice now. In a few weeks' time, it will become a bit normal again. But right now, it's a great piece of timing. Very clever.
It's made it feel like a SummerSlam weekend.
It's felt like that. It's felt like that since they started to launch it. To be fair, it really, really has, and they've just lived up to everything. Guys, I'm just sorry to interrupt. But while we're doing this little promo, I'm going to draw the last 2. WWE 30 Years of SummerSlam DVDs from WWE Home Video UK. I sound like a massive shield saying it like that, don't I?
While you're doing that, you forage away there and make sure you've got the names. I will meanwhile read something from the chat room because let me see. I want to see his name. Tom Rigby says the gentleman in the top left. He means you, Chris. Did you used to do comparing for IPW?
I absolutely did, yes. Where's that? Oh, I missed that comment.
You could work that up into an anecdote.
I absolutely did. I worked for the company from day one. I came in as a referee for the first show, which was main evented by Super Dragon versus Johnny Storm in a half-hour time limit draw.
Excellent.
And then sadly the company closed, changed hands, and closed again in December, and I compared the last show there. So managed to get the whole way through with the company, which was an amazing experience.
Oh, good for you, mate. Paul, what was the picture I saw the other day, and I wondered if the referee was Steve?
Oh God, what was it? It was Brian Danielson against Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah, that wasn't you. Did you do that? Did you, Steve?
No, that was not one of mine, I'm afraid.
Bloody hell! I thought it looked a bit like a dare I say it, a younger version of you, but we've all been young once. But it was over here. There was definitely a show that was over here. I thought it was in Liverpool.
It was in Liverpool, guys. I've drawn the last 2 names to end the prizes. We have got a second. So the 2 guys who've won these SummerSlam DVDs. One is another second-time winner who won the Attitude World title. It's Todd Derripple. Shit pronunciation, obviously. And the second one goes to Adam Ferrand. I don't know if he's still around now. He was certainly around earlier. But Adam is a long-time fan of ours. So he is the second winner of sixth of 6. I can't even get my bloody words out. I can't even get my words out. You know what I'm like when I'm tired, mate? It's not even the drink. It's just the tiredness. Sasha's dropping, by the way. Sarah's right. Sasha's dropping. And this is such a phenomenally slow burn feud. I love one of my absolute favorite things about wrestling is feuds that take their time. And this feud started a week before WrestleMania, and it boiled up a bit, and then it went down, and then it boiled up a bit again, and then it went away. And now, literally in the last week, 2 weeks, it's come back a bit. And this is going to be the one. So Sasha's going to lose this belt, and she might lose it quite quickly. But either way, she's going to lose this belt, and there's going to be a reason she's going to lose this belt, and it's going to be Bayley. Oh God, I love her. I love her to bits. I just think she is the greatest female wrestler of our generation. Oh God, she's amazing. Sasha Banks is amazing. She has such a grasp of her character. Everything she does. Do you remember when it was we did a Hooked on Wrestling party? We were at Walkabout in Temple, our home base, but it was the one where Charlotte Flair beat, I want to say Natalya. Doesn't really matter who she beat, but it was 2016 because it was just after the whole, they had the old factions thing, didn't they? And Sasha came in as a heel as part of Team Glow,
Team
Naomi
Bad.
and what Team Bad was it? Tamina and Naomi she was with. And then at the culmination of this match, you heard Sasha's music and she came out to challenge Charlotte as a face. And oh my God, that was the start of it. That was the start of Sasha Banks' journey, and it was just so good.
Malcolm's right. There was a little sign that said Fire Velveteen Dream on the screen there.
Does it say Fire Velveteen?
Oh God, it does.
Does it say Free
It does.
Velveteen Dream.
It says Fire Velveteen Dream. They've got to get rid of that. Fucking
That's
hell.
been up 2 or 3 times. I've been waiting for a spot to jump in and say I saw that, and it's actually changed screens. So it was up above where the wrestlers were, and then it's changed to the front row now. So whatever they're doing with the screens, it's moving around. So
Jason Chembinu, forgive me, Jason, but I think you might be a St. Helens fan by St. Helens Greek. Why do you think it's been a shit SummerSlam? I'm really genuinely interested. We all think it's been fantastic. Does anybody else in the comments think it's not been anything other than awesome?
Just number out of 10 so
really
far.
Good. It's been an 8, mate. It's been an
8. In the comments, just type in one number, your number out of 10 so far. I'd go 7.
I'm with you on 7.
I'm a solid 7 as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm if we're doing a Strictly Come Dancing, I'm definitely the Bruno Toglioni, aren't I?
In so many ways. You're fabulous.
Oh dear me! Oh, look at it. She's got a bejeweled mask. She got the new face paint on this one, because on the I didn't notice on the first one, but on the promotional pictures, she had the more sort of traditional Asuka face paint for one match, and the drippy, the eyes drippy that she's got now on the second one. Has she changed the face paint?
I didn't notice.
She has.
I know. Trev gives it a 6.99. Francis gives it a 7.3. Jason gives it a 7. Jason, 7 is not shit. If you think it's been a 7,
yeah, and if he's doing it out of 100,
yeah, then that's a good SummerSlam, mate. Like, welcome to the chat, by the way. I love the fact that you've come in. I'm really intrigued to see what you did and didn't like about it, because I think the overwhelming consensus, it's been a really, really good pay-per-view, and maybe we're judging it on really loose standards because it's been such a hard year. And I was about to say shit then, and that's really not fair. It's been such a hard year. Look at those 3 belts on her. Such a hard year to produce compelling content, and this feels like a proper show. And I keep saying that, and I will keep saying that, but it feels like a real show. Hey Tom, how you doing, by the way? I've not seen you around. Although I had recognized you, what a legend. Good to see Havoc has made it in the business.
That'll be on the IPW front.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, mate. I was a bit confused there.
He was asking Chris about IPW before. Just a quick one on Sasha from what you said before. There's lots of chat, isn't there, about how, you'll take someone like a Mick Foley is a good example, but when they talk about someone, what they're like in real life, and their character being like an extension of their own personality and that sort of thing, that's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? Sasha is from another group, which is almost like she's almost her
polar opposite.
No, not the polar opposite, but she's almost like her sort of like spirit animal, or like the comic book character that she'd want to be. Do you know what I mean? You can sort of have your own sort of creator wrestler, that she's become her own creator wrestler. Like there's a very, very defined set of rules about what Sasha Banks is. And they're not necessarily what Mercedes is, the real person. Because if you ever see her interviewed, she's not dissimilar to Sasha, but she's not totally different either. It's almost like this, it's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. Or, it's what the inner, or the Incredible Hulk. It's that sort of change that comes over you. The mask. There's lots of that sort of comic book thing where it changes the person inside. I feel that she's a bit like that. It's like this would have been the character that she invented when she was 9.
That's a great way of putting it. Absolutely phenomenal, mate. Could not have said it better myself. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, whatever, Incredible Hulk, same difference, same character. Absolutely bang on. This is just, she's just bloody awesome. She really, and all of these 3 women are just so good.
They are. Detail, attention to detail. Every little thing they do matters, counts. Great facial expressions, good selling, like the real things that you almost can't teach. You can teach, but you can't really. You've got to have the instinct.
I'm. By the way, Chris has just put a comment. Chris Clark has just put a comment. He says it's weird, but I'm enjoying the Thunderdome, mate. No, that's not weird. This is superbly done. This is superbly done. It feels well. I don't know if you guys watch the NBA. I watch all American sports. Some more interested. I'm a big ice hockey fan, big American football fan. Watch a bit of NBA as well. The NBA have done an amazing job. NBA feels like a proper game. The rest don't. But the NBA feels like a proper game because they've done something similar. But WWE, as is their want of taking it to the absolute next level, they could do shows like this for the rest of the year, and I'd be into this. Totally into it. And I'll tell you what's a really good thing about it. I just had a feeling about 5 minutes ago. When we go to Hooked on Wrestling parties, and Rob will attest to this because Rob spends most time with me, I get really stressed for the first 4 hours when between 8 and 12 p.m. when we're running up to the pay-per-view. Massive stress levels. For the first hour after the pay-per-view starts, massively excited. I just absolutely love myself. Drink loads of booze, have a great time. But then beyond the first hour, I get really sad because I'm counting down to the end of the pay-per-view and I don't want the night to end. Because
you've got pissed in 45 minutes.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I can't tell you how much I love being. Look, we do okay at these pay-per-views now, but it's not making anyone rich. The reason I started doing these pay-per-view parties is because I absolutely adored the atmosphere, and I still do. And when I realise that the pay-per-view is coming to an end, I get so upset. And I'm getting the same feeling now. It's the first time I've had the feeling since the Royal Rumble. I am counting. I'm looking and going, oh God, we've only got 3 matches left, and I want to carry on all night. And you guys are helping on the chat. You guys have been a fantastic company. And obviously my friends here as well. And Stevie Cox, who said he was going to bed at 1 o'clock, you lying bald man. And I'm just, for the first time since we left these parties, I'm devastated that this pay-per-view has to come to an end at some point. By the way, for those who have not noticed, we have now got a mastermind quiz champion in our midst, Adam Pearson, who has become quite an ally of Hooked On in the last few weeks. Celebrity mastermind champion, and not only is a celebrity mastermind champion, but his specialist subject was wrestling. He might well be our coolest TV personality in the world. Adam, hats off to you, mate. Thank you for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the retweets stuff. You have made a fundamental difference to the eyeballs we get, mate. So that is, I can't wait. When we are all out together, can't wait to have you at one of our parties in person. Like, beers on me, mate. Beers on me, because you've been such a star over the last few weeks.
I echo everything you just said there, Paul. But I mean, to label him as our coolest TV person, your mate Kevin from Grimsby is going to be absolutely furious. Kevin off the dancing program. He followed me on Twitter this week.
So, did he? I'll get you. Well, our top three best, most famous Hooked On Wrestling fans outside of wrestling.
Hang on. Where's Miss? Oh, I can't. I'm not going to be able to find it quick enough, am I?
He's not got a name to drop. So Adam, in no particular order, Adam's one. Kev Clifton from Grimsby from Strictly Come Dancing is the other, and our third is Mark the Beast Lebet, who is a very good friend of mine and ours and Rob's, and we do all right for celebrity fans, don't we?
I was going to. And then you could have done that's what I was going to do.
Adam, you might not live in the literal shadow of Kevin Grims because he's only a wee lad. He's only a very small man. You probably don't live in his shadow, literally. No, it's all right. We've had some decent celebrity fans and wrestling and non. So just to give you guys a flavour of who we've had at our parties in the past: Tony Storm, Tatonka. Who else have we had? Robbie E has been at our parties. I'll tell you who has been at our parties.
Katarina.
Winter. I'll tell you who has been at one of our parties for the younger guys out there. What's his Scroobius Pip has been at a couple of our parties. Yeah, doesn't mean a lot to us oldies, but it means a lot to the youngies. It's been mate. We've had some great celebs come to our events, and there's probably more that we don't know about. So it's just awesome. David Wheat is a massive wrestling fan. That is awesome. Shame he played for Bolton, but he also played for Middlesbrough, so he's all right in my book.
I have heard that he's a big wrestling fan, actually.
The other thing I'm going to say on your point of not wanting the night to end, I know exactly what you mean. With the network, though, there is a 24 special on this year's WrestleMania, which could well be more exciting than WrestleMania was.
Well, it can't be any less, can it? Do you remember when we did our WrestleMania viewing party? We did a 2-nighter, And to be honest, it was right in the aftermath of all this shit kicking off, and we were scarred and wounded, and we didn't really plan it. We just jumped on doing like this, and we had nobody watching but me, Chris, Youngie, Stoney, and a few of us just got pissed. Rob quite rightly gave it a swerve because he's far too cool. He realised how crap it'd be. And it was rubbish, but we stayed on beyond WrestleMania finishing, and I'll be honest, it was a bit shit. But I'm up for carrying on long. I've got the day off tomorrow, and if anyone wants to carry on chatting wrestling beyond WrestleMania, I'm up for it because
is it last man standing?
I'm just loving this. I'm loving being amongst wrestling fans. I'm loving having this on the screen. It's I am the biggest wrestling fan in the world.
This is going to end up.
Whoa! Stop, Adam. Once tried to make Scarlett Johansson watch wrestling. She called me a dork. Right, Adam. The floor is yours, my friend, comment-wise. Please, no one comment until Adam has told us this story. Take as many comments as you need. How did you end up being in the same room as Scarlett Johansson? Why did you feel the need to make her try and watch wrestling? And why did you not show her Royal Rumble 92? Because she totally wouldn't have called you a dork if you'd have showed her that match. So, like, tell me more. Tell me more.
While we await that answer, I want to note that I think it was Leanne earlier on that said that there's a WWE Untold. Was it Untold? I think was or one of those sort of shows on the network.
Exactly what I was getting to.
About Sasha and Bailey. She said it's really excellent, and I have seen that. That it looks really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I did watch in the week was there's one called WWE Timeline, which I watched, which was about Brett and Owen, and that was really good.
Yeah.
Yes, that was very good, actually. I watched that. Superb show. Superb.
I thought the Bailey Sasha one it's a great lead into whatever they do with tonight, then going into Payback. It'll date on the network quickly, but it does tell such a good story.
We've got an answer.
That gets better and better. Adam, what movie did you do with Scarlett Johansson? And why did you try and show a TLC 2 at a rat pie? That's absolutely outstanding. You might have gone from my favourite wrestling fan celebrity to one of my top 5 favourite people with that revelation.
Do you know what? It's true. I like Scarlett Johansson, but I prefer her brother Rubber Duck's a much nicer fella.
I've heard that Rubber Duck has got no taste in wrestling either. Under the Skin, right? I'm gonna have to watch Under the Skin. The name rings a bell. I was very drunk, mate. Brilliant. We need you on a podcast soon.
This is such a good match.
We need you on a How to Be Great podcast. You need to be our next guest. Would you agree to be one of our podcasts? Because I think you would absolutely light it up. Look at this. This is chain wrestling at its finest. Look at this. These two are just exceptional. Exceptional.
Absolutely fantastic.
And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We've detracted from all these matches really, and there's not been a bad match on SummerSlam. And we have totally detracted from us, right? Adam, that's a firm commitment, Rob. That's a verbal contract. That's basically. Oh! Look at that. Bailey ducked out of the way where Sasha didn't.
We'll find the right topic for Adam. Then we'll have a discussion. Either we'll get a topic sorted that he can join us on How to Be Great with the right topic, or it might be more suited to have him with you and Ash on How Mania, so you can go into a little bit more detail, because ours is a bit topic driven, and I sense Adam will have some good stories, and it might be something that's better for you guys on your one. I'd love to have him on ours. Don't get me wrong.
No, we'll have him How to Be Great. I don't think How Mania really lends itself to telling stories at the length that I want from Adam. So How to Be Great is the one for Adam, definitely. How Mania is short, sharp, sweet. Me and Ash talking shit. Asuka's the new Raw Women's Champion.
Excellent. I will call that my second choice going in. When we were predicting for the first one, I said that I would go for Asuka winning both, but if she was going to win one, I'd like to more for the second one than the first one. So I'll take half a point.
Adam has just put a stat in the chat room that Sasha has never successfully defended that title. Is that true? I don't doubt it, but that's a great stat if so, because she's had that multiple times, hasn't she? It's not like she's had it just twice. Sarah, I don't think that's massively. I don't think you need to be Mystic Meg to see a Sasha Bailey breakup coming. I think it's coming very, very soon. So what? God, we've only got 2 matches left. Oh Christ!
It's only 2:00, so they're gonna go long with the matches.
I think they're gonna go. I think they're gonna go short with the pay-per-view.
Do you think they're gonna do a big retribution angle?
No, I think they're gonna go short with the pay-per-view. Oh.
The only potential is to throw something in for the IC title with the change on Friday.
Let's see this. Let's have a look what's going on here. Oh, Bailey's still got her 2 belts. Sasha's only got 1. I can still smell death in this room, you know. Rob's gone again. I can still smell the death my cat brought into this room earlier. Admittedly, it's not as strong as when there was literally a dead body behind my chair, but it still does not smell right. I am so fundamentally freaked out by my cat.
That was nothing but love. She's doing her job.
I know, he absolutely. You look at his face when he gave me it. It was so lovely. It's like, look at this flesh I'm eating. It's in your name. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake!
Look what have I brought for the family?
It's the contents of the stomach, though, mate. It's the contents of the stomach. It looked like ready break to me, but it turns out it's actually the contents of someone's stomach. I don't know why I'm talking about the contents of a mousy stomach on my Hooked on Wrestling SummerSlam virtual viewing party. Chris looks like he's about to vom. Steve's left. Rob's left.
On animal guts.
All I'm thinking is we're talking this and our viewership is going up. I don't really understand that.
Seth Dog used to bring in for. Oh God! So we're going to Drew against Randy next. That is a bit of a surprise. It's a bit of a surprise. So do we suspect that something massive is happening in Braun Strowman against? I think something massive is happening in Braun against the Fiend, and that means that Sarah has to wait that little bit longer for a moment in the sun. I hope you're not drinking as much as we are, Sarah, because otherwise it would be an absolute shite show.
Guys, I'm tapping out.
You're tapping out, are you? Okay.
I have to go. So I'm up and I'm driving 12-ton death machines in the morning. So
you better go. Steve, adios amigos.
Night, folks. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, mate. Take care.
Right, and then there were 2.
And then there was 2. So I've just had a text from Rob saying, are they ending Braun the Fiend? I may go to bed. No, Rob, you're in it for the long haul. No, Rob, you're one of us.
One of us.
Adam's cat once bought him a baby fox. Fuck me. Thank God I didn't have to clean that up. Oh my goodness. I realised that I thought I had 11 minutes to get some wine and some crisps. I didn't realise I had 11 minutes to get some wine, crisps, and dispose of a dead body, Winston Wolfe style. And
unlike most wrestling, there were no delays in any of this, so it was a genuine amount of time to get something done.
There you go. So does anyone want to come in on the feed, by the way? Has anyone got a mic and a camera that wants to come in and watch this match with us? Because Rob's charging his headset. If anyone wants to come in and talk some shit about this match, then now is the time to raise your hand in the air. We'll wait.
Yeah, there's a tumbleweed going by it. So.
I'm kind of running out of wine, Chris. I'm slightly concerned. I haven't got enough wine to see me through to the end of the pay-per-view.
I'm going to have to get some more of these in a minute. So,
but conversely, there's not long enough to me asked to go to the fridge and get some Budweisers because that's all I've got left. I just don't know what to do. Adam, I thought Adam might. Pradeep's got a mic. Have you got a camera, Pradeep?
This is one thing I will just mention. Obviously, you brought up the website earlier, and you said it's a labour of love, but it's not the labour; it's the love. It is great, and that's why last night it was just fun, and we're bringing something to everyone with doing these streams like this, with what we did earlier on, which was incredible. And there was news popping up all morning because we did a rollover shift last night where I was posting during the pay-per-view, and within an hour you were up, and I'm not quite sure how you're still going tonight, mate. You're doing an incredible job.
I'm not. This is a fake me. This is an absolute fake me. Pradeep wants to have a go, but Adam wants to have a go too. So I'm going to bring Adam in first, and then I'm going to bring Pradeep in to do some comment after that, if that's okay, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you both the link. And what all you need to do is click on the link, type in your name, and I will bring you into the chat. So bear with me 1 second, guys. Chris, can you just talk amongst yourself?
Yeah, and I'm pretty good at rambling on for absolutely no reason, normally because the cards change backstage and you don't know that it's even happening. It's really not the right time to get any plugs in, though, either, because it's 2:05 in the morning, and if you've managed to stay with us for this long, then you've done better than we have. So, I could just get in what we'd normally get in at the end and thank everyone for joining us. I haven't seen how we did with donations, but I know there was a load of money going in for the Cauliflower Alley Club earlier. And Brian Blair was a great guest. Again, someone I'd like us to hear a bit more of, and I'm sure we can try and do something more in the future. Who wins this match? Oh, it's such a tough call. Orton, I don't know if he needs it at the moment, so I think it's got to really... or is this the time we take it off Drew and give Drew his moment? This is where we've set up the Thunderdome. However, it's a venue that if they're allowed fans, we can take down the Thunderdome, start bringing fans back in. Maybe this is the moment to take the belt off and give it back to Drew with fans. Oh, I'm not giving you an answer, basically.
That's my call, mate. Especially since it's a semi-main event, because you really don't want to if this is the big coming back party for WWE on pay-per-view, you don't want to end that pay-per-view on an absolute downer with the big nasty heel Randy Orton winning the world title. So this probably is the fact that they're going semi-main event on this suggests to me that Orton is winning. And to be fair, as much as Drew McIntyre has been an incredible champion, one of the best in years, Randy Orton has been around for 18 years?
Yeah. And
this is the absolute best he has been in those 18 years. The last 6 months, he has never been better. Yeah. Agreed?
Yeah, and the build they've given him in the last month or so, he didn't need believability, but it's given it to him.
Yeah. Mate, Thomas Hall's asking you personally, Hatch, not who you think's going to win, but who do you want to win?
So my instinct would be I'd love Drew to win just because I'd always like to see that. But when you think about it, you put it into the perspective we've just said with making it the right time. Let's give Orton the moment now and give Drew that build he's already had with the result he deserves. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Orton, and that's what I'd like to give some advancement to Drew rather than just holding a title that, to be fair, he's lost a bit of meaning for it as of late.
Ever the pro, mate. Ever the pro. So just to Adam and Pradeep, I have sent you the links on Facebook Messenger. If you want to check those out, guys, you jump into the chat. We will get you both on. The plan is get Adam on first, then Pradeep in once we've all settled in. Sarah's asking whether we think Edge will return. Oh my God, it's the old man from Home Alone.
Yeah.
He's going to hit Randy Orton with a shovel. Right in the face. What's this? Let's just hear Shawn Michaels talk.
A claymore upside the head.
Oops, upside the head. So he's technically Eddie Dennis's boss, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's not. You took the words out of my mouth, mate. Not a bad boss. My boss is a great guy. My boss might be watching this actually. My boss is a guy called Martin, who it turns out is a massive wrestling fan. Who is we bonded on a trip down to Leicestershire, because he's a wrestling fan and I'm a wrestling fan, and it was just absolutely awesome. Here's the man. Here's Drew McIntyre. So neither Pradeep or Adam have come into our green room yet. So if they don't come soon, we're gonna have to let Rob back in.
I know. I can give a very quick Drew story that I'm sure my wife, who sat next to me, won't mind me saying. So we've known.
Oh, stop! Whoa. Sarah.
Hello.
Jump in.
Can't see me because of catch, but still.
She is here.
I'm here.
So we've known Drew going back to the IPW days. He was on some of the very early shows when he was a lot smaller than he is now, to be fair. He just started out. And then we were at one of the NXT shows in Brighton when he joined WWE. And Sarah's up at the ring at the end of the main event, which had Drew in a tag. And in her own words, she got the sweatiest hug she's ever had from anyone as he made his way around the ring at the end of the match.
It was a 6-man tag, and he had Ali Black in it, Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, and Drew. And they all spotted me, and they all remembered me from back in the Indies. And I just got this massive sweaty hug from Drew. I was like, night's made there.
Oh, dear me. Dear me, I love it. I met Chris and Sarah in Dublin when we were on a TNA promo tour with the most boring man in the world, Simon Rothstein. No, I'm kidding. The most boring man in the world is, I hate to say it was so boring. Bobby Roode. Oh my God. Like, lovely guy, but fuck me, he was so boring. Right, Pradeep's here. We're going to bring you in a minute, Pradeep. Just hold your horses. He is ready and rocking. So boring. Until we got him talking about ice hockey, you could literally not get blood from a stone.
What do you want to do tonight? Do you want to go for a drink? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do... No, I think I'll just sleep.
No, let's just sit and look at the wall, shall we? Just sit and look at the wall, because that seems like a good idea. Pradeep, are you ready, mate? Give us a thumbs up if you're ready. I don't want to bring you up on it. Right, he's ready to rock and roll. Pradeep is one of the writers for hookedonwrestling.co.uk, so I'm going to bring him in now. How you doing, Pradeep?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, mate, we can hear you just fine. You've got a serious headset on there, mate.
It's a work headset, so...
So is mine. So is mine. Snap. And Adam's here as well. So we're just gonna give Pradeep a couple of minutes, and then we'll bring you in as well, mate. What do you think of SummerSlam so far?
It's actually been surprisingly good, but I had fairly high expectations of it because the card was good. The storylines have been compelling from top to bottom. So yeah, it's been well booked, well delivered, and it's been good fun so far.
Yeah, mate, it's been so we've had a really good time. Who do you think's going to win this match?
Yeah, I think given that there's no real crowd, you don't need a babyface champion. I'm going to say Orton wins and has a decent reign until they can build a babyface to beat him again. Not that Drew McIntyre's done badly. I just don't think it's the right environment to have a face champion.
What I think is quite interesting seeing those two guys stood nose to nose is that Orton's probably a smidge taller than Drew McIntyre, and McIntyre is meant to look massive, isn't he? And
he's not a short guy by any means. He's the full bill.
No, absolutely. So who's the man for you then, Pradeep? Like, we've not spoken like this before. Like, if you could wave a magic wand and put that belt that's on the screen now on anyone. You know, I'm not talking about what's best for business. Who's your guy? Who do you want that belt?
Hulk Hogan. You're talking historically.
Why not? Fuck it.
Are you talking historically or are you talking about right? Oh, sorry. No. I thought you meant ever. Oh, who's going to put a belt on someone? You're going to have to give me 2 minutes to think about that one. It's a tough one.
Well, I think we should stick with Hulk Hogan because why not? If you gave him that chance, mate, he'd still go for that now, wouldn't he?
Tell you the truth, I'll say Big E.
Big E, mate. As Rob will know, I'm all in for Big E. I'm all in for Big E. So I'm going to bring Adam in now. So Adam, are you ready? Give us a thumbs up if you're ready, mate. Adam is ready to rock and roll. So this is a mastermind celebrity quiz champion and celebrity wrestling fan, Adam Pearson. Adam, how are you doing, mate?
All good, gentlemen. How are you?
Mate, I'm great. Thank you so much for taking part in this. This is awesome.
No, it's been a good pay-per-view so far. I really enjoyed it.
What's been the best match, do you think?
Oh, Dominic Seth.
It went way longer than I expected it to, but it was actually compelling, wasn't it?
It was great fun. It was really good fun, really good psychology. Seth just knows in-ring psychology so well and understands when to kind of slow things down. Orton's also really good at that. I think they both have that in common.
I totally agree. Like to me, they've been like the shining points in WWE, and it's no coincidence. Like I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I said I think the best 5 people in WWE this year have been Seth, Randy Orton, Bayley, Sasha Banks, being 4 out of 5, all heels. And it's not a surprise, but the fact that there's been no crowds around and the heels have excelled, because I guess the baby faces need that reaction, don't they? They need that vindication. Whereas the heels, you can just tell they're bastards just by seeing them. Is that fair to say, do you think?
I think if you have to tell someone that you're a bastard, you're probably not.
Mate, I'm absolutely loving it. So who have you got picked for this match? I'll tell a 2-part question. Who do you think's going to win, and who do you want to win?
I think Orton is going to win. I also think I want him to win.
I think I agree with you on both counts, actually, because as much as I've loved Drew McIntyre as champion, I want him to have his crowning moment winning it in front of a crowd.
Because that was cruelly taken away from him by circumstances outside of anyone's control.
Did you watch the I don't know if it's called 24 Special, what was it called? WWE Untold, the documentary, and I'm talking to Pradeep as well now. Did you watch that one just before WrestleMania? And how heartbreaking was that show?
It was a rough watch, wasn't it? But then I think that's kind of life in general, whether you're in the wrestling industry or whatever industry you were in at that time. A lot of people had stuff just ripped from their hands. But particularly with Drew and like the backstory that he came in as the chosen one, and for one reason or another it sort of didn't work. And at that point he had 2 options. He could get like really pissy about it and go down the Ryback route of hating the industry, or he could go master the craft, hit the indies, bust his ass off, and come back better. And he very much did that.
Oh, he did in a massive way. I wasn't a fan of Drew in his first stint at all. There were people telling me how he's going to be this big future superstar, and I was actively batting against that. I just did not see it at all. But then, literally, the minute he went onto the independent scene, I was like, "Fuck, I was wrong." He's clearly a superstar. I was so wrong. Yeah. But Pradeep, if you've not seen that, man, like Adam says, like we've all been through rough times in these last few months, and most of us, luckily, don't have those rough times captured on camera. But basically after he won the Royal Rumble, there was a camera on Drew 24/7, and every good and bad thing, and you literally saw that on camera there the news that WrestleMania wasn't going to be in front of a crowd, and it was just like, it was rough, man. It was rough, wasn't it, Adam? It was hard watch, like I say.
Just to Adam's point, given that he did leave and it didn't work out for him, I think if he'd stayed and he was just pushed down people's throats, he would have had that sort of Roman Reigns heat. So I think he's done himself a favour by leaving, improving his craft and coming back, and he's been more accepted, I think, as a face.
But I also think he worked on the softer skills that you need when you work in wrestling. I didn't like the character very much, and that god awful feud he had with Teddy Long, where he just kept going, Teddy. And I'm just like, you don't like him, we get it. Now can we move on? Kind of, it all got a bit Groundhog Day.
It was so one-dimensional, wasn't it? And literally the minute, and it sounds superficial, but the minute he left WWE, he grew out the beard a little bit, he grew out the hair, he obviously put on a bit of mass. And it is superficial, but it's a superficial business. So, that makes a difference. And his perception immediately was great. And you're right, he wasn't straddled with feuds like the Teddy Long feud, like the 3MB thing. And suddenly you take him super seriously. And then when he came, and Pradeep made a great point, like, you come in, you're the chosen one, and you carried on being pushed and pushed and pushed, and you sign and you stay and you keep signing new contracts. Whereas if you go away, there's that certain bit of credibility. Like, I don't know if I'm talking for anyone on this stream now. I'm not talking for myself, but there's a certain element in the fan base that won't give you that credibility unless you've been to New Japan, unless you've been on the Indies. And Drew did that, and there's plenty of others that have done that. And like we're looking at a good contrast in the ring right now. Randy Orton's been WWE for literally his entire career. As far as I'm aware, he's never wrestled a single wrestling match outside of the WWE banner, and he's never ever been given the credit, given the prop he deserves. Randy Orton's not top 10 of all time, but he's way better than people say he is. What do you think to that? What do you think to Randy Orton over the years in terms of his growth as a performer, his perception
He's like a fine
to the
wine.
audience?
He's like a fine wine. He's improved with age. You take Randy Orton from not even 10 years ago. Take Randy Orton from 5 years ago, and I think there's been a stronger upward curve in the last 2-3 years than there's ever been in Randy Orton's career.
Yeah, I fully agree. Adam, what's your thoughts on that? I know you've been a long time fan. Have you ever seen Orton better than this?
I don't think I have. I think the wine comparison is a really good one, because wrestlers tend to go one of two ways as they get older. They either age like wine or age like milk. And luckily for Orton, he's on the wine side of it. And we've all heard stories about how he's temperamental and what have you. But as long as the in-ring work is good, he'll always draw. And I really like what you said about him not getting the credit he deserves, because there is a certain amount of snobbery in the internet wrestling community, where, as you say, oh, you haven't done the Indies, you haven't done New Japan, you've never been to the Tokyo Dome, what kind of wrestler are you? That kind of thing. And I think that creates real division and tribalism in something that's meant to bring us as wrestling fans together. So I have no time for it.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Like, the whole ethos of Hooked on Wrestling is to just be, fans of wrestling. And we have people come to our parties that are WWE fans exclusively, and people that are AEW fans and AEW fans and Ring of Honor fans and all manner in between. But yeah, I think that's exactly right. And the funny thing about Orton, when he was younger, I met Randy Orton very, very, very briefly in 2002 at WWE New York. And he was what, 21, 22, whatever he was at the time. Absolute bell end, but because he hadn't grown into being that performer yet. So yeah, but what I'm saying is, now he's older and wiser and married and got those responsibilities. Now he isn't that bell end in real life, so he's not causing havoc, but he's wise enough and clever enough and skilled enough to perform as that bell end on screen to a much better degree. So whereas you flip the script. 15 years ago when I met him, or 18 years ago, he was a bell end in real life and a relatively effective bell end on screen, because that personality seeped through to the screen. Whereas now he's not a bell end, I assume, I'm thinking, but because he's got that control over his persona and his emotions, he can portray a much better bastard on screen. Would you agree with that, Adam?
Yeah, we've got to know when to turn things on and off. And it's why most actors are in therapy, so that they can be able to turn things on and off, and that they aren't, kind of bringing their work home with them. But again, I think he grew up. I think he matured. Maybe he got a bit too much too soon, and he got a bit carried away with it all. But normally, because I've met a few of the NXT UK guys, and most of them are nothing but charming.
Yep. Really nice guys, because, like you say, because they're grounded.
Yeah, but it's also just good fan service. It's literal. I pay your bills. Kind of, we pay your bills. If no one watches wrestling anymore, there's no money for anyone. And so I'm not asking to be your best mate or what have you. I'm just asking that you don't be a dick to the fans. And it's not hard. It's not hard to be decent to a crowd.
Nope, it really isn't.
The pleasantries go a long way in the wrestling business, and it does go from the top down. It's at every level. If the company's management, down to the wrestlers, down to everyone involved, down to the fans, there's got to be that connection where you know who you interact with and you know what level you interact with them at, and you treat everyone with the right amount of respect for that. And I do think there's a huge majority out there that do it as well.
And then if you do interact, people tend to kind of talk back and are willing to engage. And I think there's a big difference between just being like a pessimistic Twitter kind of, I use the word fan very loosely, fanboy, and then genuinely sending a tweet with either like a concern or like when the whole speaking out movement came up. Discovery Wrestling in Scotland put out their new code of conduct, and they said, I think it was, racist, sexist, and homophobic language will not be tolerated. And I tweeted saying, but the whole disableism, is that still very much on the cards, guys? And they added it in. They were like, good point, well made, and shoved it in. Whereas I think if they were a bit more precious than that, I think they'd have been like, well, we're blocking that guy.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah, you're right, you're absolutely right. It would have been like, even 10 years ago, it was a case of like marginalized people that don't fit who we want to market at, and that's that. And now the world's totally changed, and the good wrestlers and the good wrestling companies have seen the light, and the ones that haven't are going to be left by the wayside, as we're seeing now.
And that's why I like Big E as well. Actually, if you see some of the things that Big E writes on Twitter, you know, it's not just about wrestling. He's got beliefs, he's got political views, he's a proud Black American, and he's he is who he is, and I think that's refreshing.
It is. I think Big E is the greatest wrestler since Bret Hart, and I know Rob McNichol agrees with me watching this. He's a massive Big E fan. Guys, I'm going to let you two go now, right? Because I want to watch the end of this match because it's quite a pivotal match. If you guys want to come back on for the main event, if we get chance, we're going to bring Sarah in first and Rob in. But if there's opportunity and you want to, we'll bring you back in. But thank you for being in the stream. Thanks for watching us, guys. No doubt it's in the last time we talked, right? Sure. Adam, Pretty, speak to you soon, guys.
Okay, guys.
How was your break? Can you hear us, Rob?
Oh, here we go again. There he goes.
Part-timer.
Eh?
Part-timer. What can we do? Biggie. Sarah says Big E's 25-1 to win the Rumble. I don't think that's a dreadful shout.
Yeah, if this singles run goes how they're saying, my only thought is, if Drew loses the title here, what's the build? Where does that start? And do we see near enough a repeat of what we saw at this year to make it work?
Maybe. Rob, can you hear us?
I can. You've got no sense of theatre and timing. I was just getting everything back together again. You remember the last time you told me my sound was rubbish, so I was just in the midst of getting it set up, and then you brought me in rather too soon. I felt like, who was it that came in too early that time in the Rumble? It's too late for me to remember who it was. They came running down the ring too early, but I felt like them. No
idea. Guys, I'm going to leave you to it for 2 seconds. I'm going to dip out this feed because I'm going to nip to get some Budweisers. So,
I'll let you go first, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So.
Chris, you got a lot of catching up to do with Rob. He's got some. He's got a long way. I'm just going to go.
Yeah, just make a move. Nice mug there, Rob. Nice mug.
Cheers, mate. What's he talking about? Budweisers? What's wrong with him? It's 2:30 in the morning. He's had a nice bottle of red wine, and now he's drinking Budweisers. The uncouth son of a queen.
At least if you start on Budweiser, finish on Budweiser. Like, at least I'm setting a tone all the way.
Yes,
it's
quite
shit.
Right.
Oh.
I started on water, went to Iron Brew, and now I'm on tea. That's my evening.
That's not a bad end to the night. So, what have you made of this match so far, then, Rob?
It's a bit slow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
a bit slow.
We've maybe seen from a lot of the other matches, which you might expect from guys like this, but it's one of the co-main events, so
I think they're a bit similar, these two. I'm a bigger Randy Orton fan than I am Drew, although I've been really pleased with Drew's year, and I think he's really deserved it. But I think both of these are they're really good dance partners, but they need someone else to lead, I think. And I know that might sound harsh about someone like Orton who's been around for so long, But if you give Orton a great wrestler with him, he tends to have a great match. But I feel like some people can get great matches out of other people. I don't think Orton is one of them, and I don't think Drew is one of them either. This is perfectly passable, but
yeah, I was going to say, it's not like we're suddenly saying, "Oh, they've messed up every other move in the match" or anything like that.
Oh no, it's been nicely well executed and stuff. It's just it's a bit. Paul was saying earlier on about looking at the differences between WWE and AEW and trying not to compare and all that kind of stuff. But this is the.
Oh, I don't know if anyone else has, but I've just lost Rob McNichol, which is a very rare occurrence where I'm left on screen. I got 5 seconds on screen by my own earlier on. I don't know if anyone else can still hear Rob or if it's just me that he's disappeared for. If anyone can mention that in the comments. I don't know if Paul can still hear Rob as well. Paul,
Rob.
We're just looking at Rob's face.
So yeah, take a photo of that.
Rob looks like a Kate Bush single. Heathcliff, which means Kathy, I've come home now.
See, at least we're getting these technical things now, where rather than earlier on when we had had quite so much going on. So,
hey, we pulled it off earlier. We absolutely pulled it off. What's going on here? Why is there 4 people? There's 2 Rob McNichols.
There was 2 of me. It was like 2 doinks.
I am not having that. 1 Rob McNichols.
Yes, we are replicating. Brilliant.
2 Rob McNichols. I'll be here till Thursday watching SummerSlam.
And do you remember that time?
Well, there's a very strange moment there when my computer said you have no connection to the internet. And I'm like, I'm watching the bloody pay-per-view. So it's like my network didn't conk out, but my computer did.
Well, mate, welcome back. Welcome. Oh, nice mug, that. Nice mug plug. It's a plug of tea. Is it a plug of tea? Is that what you call it? I've got a tail here. Oh, hello.
Have you opened the Budweiser yet?
Isn't he a rubbish drinker?
Proper Budweiser.
It's all there is left. I've got a Budweiser and a Beck's. That's all that is left in the fridge.
It's not just that. You've had a couple of glasses of wine and listen to you giggling like an imbecile.
I've had a whole bottle of wine. It's a very nice wine.
To be fair, what would have happened in 45 minutes after the...
I basically cocked up, right? Because I forgot. I didn't get a chance. I was too busy today getting all this ready, and I didn't have a chance to go to the supermarket and buy a bottle of cheap shit red wine. So the only red wine we had in was this really expensive bottle that Sal's dad bought us. Honestly, it was like a wedding. It was like a birthday present for Sal. And it's about £45 this bottle of red wine, and I just drunk it.
And you're drinking Budweiser. After drinking, in fact, I think Bud Light. I think I saw after.
I'm dead, mate. I'm dead. I could when this wine shows up empty in the morning, I'm dead. I think I might just go with Dizzy. By the way, Aldi Pinot Noir. Ric Flair loves a Pinot Noir, and Aldi do an amazing Pinot Noir for $5.99. So that is my tip, right? And I'm a wine snob. I don't like shit wine. Aldi Pinot Noir is the tits. $5.99. Get on it.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you've topped up before the main event, I'm going to go and do the same thing very quickly and leave you to Lovebirds too.
This might be only the second time Chris has left the feed in 8 hours, you know. Chris might well have the bladder of the Iron Giant.
Basically.
What's that? He's got blood in his face, a big disgrace. That looks like orange blood. What's wrong with him? Oh, Pradeep's got Co-op Merlot for £8. That's a bit expensive for me, Pradeep. I'm not that big of a wine snob. No, I'm kidding. £8 not fine. Go on, Drew. So Orton's winning this, isn't he? In the next minute and a half.
Well, I mean, fill me in on what the whole "they won't see it coming" thing is.
I've no idea.
Because I've seen it added. I've seen it added as a tagline, but I don't know what the.
It's been a tagline for a couple of weeks, but they haven't really emphasized it on screen. It's not been a storyline point. It's been a marketing tagline. And I assume it's either to do with Retribution or something to do with a Fiend. But like they've massively emphasized it in the marketing. But
there's what we won't see coming.
What? Has he won with a backslide?
The first person in history to win with a backslide.
Fuck.
Wow, that's in the quiz next week. It went Paul. When you do the newsletter on Thursday, I think the question ought to be, who was the last person to win on pay-per-view with a backslide? I think it might have been Jim Londus in 1912.
Gary, that wasn't a shit ending, only because who fucking wins with a backslide? That wasn't a roll-up. That was not a roll-up of death. That was a backslide.
No, that was definitely a backslide.
The backslide is the best early 90s 2-count maneuver in the history of the world. And he absolutely framed it.
What did we say about 3 hours ago on this very network when we talked about...
Diana's stream's going out.
A bit after that, we talked about the backslide in Bulldog and Brett.
Finish. It was the Bulldog finish.
No, before that, we talked about the backslide being the start of the believable finishes, and then we got to the Bulldog finish and said there's no way they could ever do that finish again because they'd always see it as the Brett Bulldog finish. You know, there's no way they'll come up with something like that, and they've done a backslide.
They've just done the Orton Drew finish. Do you know the best thing about that Bulldog Brett backslide is because they didn't hook the arms at once. He went 1, 2, down, and that was a bit. Anyway, that was a bit more like it. That was the Drew Orton finish. That will always be the Drew Orton finish.
Chris, you just missed history.
I've seen the replay of it. That's incredible.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord!
I can top it. I was refereeing and may have checked if there was anything I need to know, and I was told lock up, and the finish of the match was a lock up.
What?
They managed to lock up and roll through into a pin. That was quite an impressive sequence.
Different.
I wanted to get one beer, but there was another beer attached to it. But what I was more worried about...
I was doing it as well.
But I found a beer from my birthday that I haven't drunk yet, and I've worked out what's Papa Shango doing on the side of the beer.
Oh, that is great. It's a Papa beer.
Is it?
It's a Papa. I can't think of a Papa Shango beer pun. If anyone can help me out here, I'm well up for it. So,
I don't know if we're supposed to talk about him anymore. It might be a little bit taboo to talk about. But speaking of Papas, doesn't he look a little bit like Papa Lazarou from League of Gentlemen? I'm not sure we're allowed to talk about him anymore, though.
What about some pegs, Rob?
Been cancelled.
No, I'm never going to cancel Papa Lazaro. Papa Shandy, I like that. Chris Pierre says the Fiend's going to win with a crucifix. What's this Keith Lee limit? We've got a Keith Lee promo. We've got a hold the phone. We've got a Keith Lee promo. Keith Lee looks like he's coming to the main roster.
It's got to be.
Not a massive surprise because this man is a main eventer in waiting.
Tomorrow
night on Raw.
That is in no way a shock. Clearly, the only way he was going to lose the title last night was if he was coming to Raw. Yeah, absolutely, totally deserved.
Yeah. I'm just disappointed he doesn't use the Spirit Bomb as an actual finisher anymore, because there was a show we did over here and he genuinely hit the mat and his opponent bounced as high as the second rope. That's not an exaggeration.
I've seen that. I've seen that. So, right, okay, we're on to the main event. So, Sarah, if you want to jump into the link, if you've got it, we'll bring you onto the feed. What's this? Is this a t-shirt promo?
Yeah. Oh goodness! I can't believe they've done it in this order.
It's weird, but there's a reason. For
me, I'm not slagging off the order. I'm just saying the timing for me, because I'm gonna hate this. And I'm not being closed-minded, by the way. If it's good, I'll say it's good. I'm not one of those people to have decided I don't like something before it happens. But I do know that, I do know generally what my own taste is going to be, and I have hated this Strowman versus Braun feud. Strowman versus Wyatt feud.
I have until about the last 10 days, 2 weeks, and it just feels like, I don't know, it's not amazing still. I'm not going to say it's the best thing ever, but it's gone from being awful and flat and boring It's relatively interesting, and
It's
I'm not
weird.
hating it. I'm not hating it now. But remember, it's a product of its environment. They went with the swamp fight because that's what they needed to do. And that swamp fight, by the way, let's just say, call a spade again. That was the worst thing that WWE has ever produced, ever. It was like some of the cinematic matches. Cinematic matches aren't to my taste, right? People raved about the Boneyard match. I was not impressed. I really enjoyed the Funhouse match because it wasn't the cinematic nature of it. It was the meta nature of it that I really liked, and all the in-jokes. So I loved that. But I'm not like the cinematic matches at all. But that Swamp match was just fucking abysmal. It was just so bad, and I'm so pleased it got away from all that. Were you going to say something, Chris?
I was going to say, I remember we watched the Boneyard match on Mania night, and we're going, what is this shit? And then everyone else went, how amazing is this? And we're going, that's not how we remember it. But
it was weird, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, that Viking Raiders match that I don't know if it was even announced, but turned into a match. But yeah, that was worse for me.
You really hate that, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I passionately hated that, and I literally switched off. I didn't watch the rest of the pay-per-view afterwards, which is unlike me.
So Marty Bryan asked, what was better, the swamp fight or the Boneyard match? That's like asking me if I got what's better, getting punched in the face or punched in the testicles. I would rather get punched in the face, and so the Boneyard match was better. And I didn't
mind the Boneyard match.
I was going to say, I'm being harsh. The Boneyard match was okay.
I didn't mind it.
But it wasn't the pinnacle that everyone suggested it was. It was okay.
It was all right.
But it was schlock, wasn't it? It was schlock. It was like it was poor B movie stuff. Whereas the Boneyard match was just incredibly badly produced television.
All of these things, and I include Broken Hardy, and I include what do they call it? House of Horrors, or what do they call that one?
Yeah, House of Horrors, yeah.
I include all of them. I don't like them generally because I don't like the concept. It takes you out of the world. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit with the rest of the show. However, you could have an argument to say that the Boneyard match was just a fight in a big, outhouse place with lots of cameras on it. It looked a little bit. It looked more like an actual fight. I didn't like some of the Taker appearing out of nowhere stuff, but that's canon with Taker. But I felt like there was something about the Boneyard match where you could make an argument to say this was just a fight going on, which we filmed differently and presented differently. The other stuff is ridiculous. And I hate Broken Hardy slightly more than I hate The Fiend, but I don't like either of them because it's just stupid, hokey shit.
To your credit, you have always told me how much you hated that Broken Hardy stuff way before WWE went down this direction full time. And then Adam says about the Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole backlot brawl. Again, absolutely right. Atrociously filmed, atrociously produced. Just rubbish.
That was even worse in some ways because Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream can wrestle.
Yeah.
And they turned it into listen, Braun Strowman is not a great wrestler. Bray Wyatt is not a great wrestler. You work around it, right? They're good characters, but they're not great wrestlers. You work around it to do something different. Undertaker was finished. You work around it to do something different. I understand the reasoning for all of this. It's not to my taste. But Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream could go and have a great match. There's no reason to gimmick them and do silly bells and whistles that actually hurt them rather than help them. And to reference a comment from Thomas Hall in the quotes, he says he liked the Boneyard match, but the Firefly Funhouse was atrocious. You know that I think similar in the sense that I didn't like the Firefly Funhouse at all. But the thing is, the Firefly Funhouse was unbelievably fun, but it was in the wrong genre. Do you know what I mean? It should have been in another. If it had been something that was on the website or something, I'd have liked it. But you wouldn't break out of EastEnders to have a dream sequence, or you wouldn't go from The Godfather and have a musical, bit. It didn't fit. That's why I didn't like it. It was actually really entertaining, but it didn't fit.
Yeah, you did right. I thought the Firefly Funhouse match was the best thing about WrestleMania.
But WrestleMania was rubbish, so.
Yeah, 100%. It didn't fit at all. But I just loved I love the thought process behind it. I love where they went. I loved how they brought all these old strands in. I just thought it was fantastic. So right, guys, we are about to bring the last two combatants of the night to the ring. So I'm going to introduce our last 5-5 nice coming out. So I'm going to introduce Sarah Golding, who's our last contributor tonight. Hey Sarah, how you doing?
Hey guys, doing very well. How are you all?
Yep, have you had a good night so far?
Brilliant. May I take this opportunity to thank you for such a great show, all your hard work tonight. It's been super amazing, and seeing the interviews with Diana, Harry, Georgia, and the SummerSlam organizer of '92 was absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
You do realise that's the only reason we brought you on to say that. So no, bye-bye, Sarah. No,
thank you. My mind already.
Thank you so much for saying that. We've had an absolute pleasure doing it. So, thank you. And I'm saying this to you, but I mean it to everyone for staying with us for the night. You guys have all been with us for 8 hours. It's been a long night. Chris, Rob, and I have felt it. But you guys might have not done the talking, but you've still been there with us. So it's been an amazing night. It's literally been the best hooked on night I've had outside of our parties. Rob's gone. Obviously, clearly doesn't agree with me. So then number 3. So Sarah, you asked specifically to come in for this match. So there's obviously a reason for that. Tell us what you're looking forward to about this match.
I just want to see redemption of the Fiend's character in general. Goldberg match did him no favours at all, and I want to see him regain the championship and be the champion that I expected him to be and to be booked as.
So can I ask you a question? Because I think this is quite a fundamental problem with the Fiend. So I was it was SummerSlam last year that we saw the Fiend for the first time, and every single one of us was awestruck by how amazing this character was and different it was. He shouldn't have won the title, should he? That hamstrung him.
It was a little bit too early for him myself.
To me, he's a character that doesn't need a title ever. When you put him up against Goldberg in Saudi Arabia, unfortunately, the only logical outcome, once those two were matched up with a belt on the line, was Goldberg winning.
Yeah.
And I've got a column in me, and I've got this column on my to-do list, and I've had it on for weeks, to say that the worst thing that ever happened to WWE main events was that, you remember that Goldberg-Lesnar match at Survivor Series a few years ago where it ended in 50 seconds or whatever it was, which felt amazing at the time because no WWE main event had ever done that before. That is a regular thing now, isn't it? And you had Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania doing it, you had Brock Lesnar, you had Braun Strowman and Goldberg at WrestleMania. Basically, most title matches in the last year have ended in 2 minutes. Brock Lesnar and Ricochet. They've gone back to Goldberg. They really have, and it should never be. And so the big mistake they made was giving the title to the Fiend in the first place.
Yeah.
And then the second mistake they made was, they wanted Goldberg to have the title so he could lose to Reigns at WrestleMania, and I get that. But then it's almost as if they went, "Oh fuck, we accidentally put the title on the Fiend, and we need it to be on. We need to be on Goldberg now. And we haven't got time for it to go A to B to C." So they just and Goldberg can't do more than a 2-minute match, so they just had to mow through the Fiend. And you're absolutely right. That really, really hampered him. But if we pretend that didn't happen, because we're wrestling fans and we're good at pretending stuff, aren't we? We live in a make-believe world. So let's pretend that didn't happen. What do you think of the Fiend character other than that?
Well, I think he's our modern day Mick Foley in some respects, because he's got the multiple personality disorder, as I call it. And I do really dig the Fiend as a character, but I just wish he'd stay in a little bit more often and not revert back to the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, because I like that darkness about him.
So you want him to be the Fiend more than you want him to be the burgundy sweater wearing TV presenter?
Or just keep that to the Firefly Funhouse and then be the Fiend in the ring. Something like that, so we know we're always going to get the Fiend, because I do love the Fiend, and he definitely. I mean, at first I wasn't too keen on him as I thought I'd be. It just seemed a little bit too much. But as the character's developed by The Undertaker, because he's had help with his character backstage, he's been great. I mean, I love him.
The Undertaker's the best comparison, obviously, isn't it? Because there's no other character since that's been so built on. What's the word I'm looking for? mythologism or whatever.
It's not that.
Sorry.
Keep searching.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Dr. English. And he's right. But no, what I mean is the character is so deeply entrenched in being, otherworldly, and it works. It really works, because he came in, and I think, I'm going to slightly disagree with you, Sarah, for a second. That I think the reason it works so well is because you had that reveal with the Andy Peters character, the guy in the fight, and because that worked. Yeah, and then you got the flashes of the Fiend, and it built it up really well. And I think without that character, the Fiend doesn't work. I think if Bray Wyatt had just disappeared from TV and then come back as the Fiend on day one, we would have all shit on it.
Yeah.
But because we had that TV presenter, it worked. So I'm going to shut up a little bit now and watch this. So I'm going to let my friends talk.
I tell you what did happen is the Mercy the Buzzard, or whatever it's called, appeared before it had a name, and everyone did shit on that. But then eventually everyone realized. I love the Firefly Funhouse. I think it's amazing, and I think it was a brilliant move into this. I like the dichotomy of it. I think it's really fun. I actually like almost everything about the Fiend, except I don't like the fantasy stuff. I don't like the horror movie character. The Jason, the Freddy Krueger, side of him. Because my basic theory about wrestling is that it's all about selling.
Yeah.
And all the greatest wrestlers of all time, from Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, the greatest matches you've ever seen in your life are all about selling. We've watched one of the greatest matches of all time tonight with Davey and Bret, and look at the pair of them selling the emotion of it, selling getting hurt, selling everything. And the trouble is, you'll have the Daniel Bryan match with the Fiend was the example, which was a great match to a point, but the Fiend just kept coming out of it. And it's like, well, if you can't hurt the guy, what's the point? And it's and I hate that. But unfortunately, I'm the one that's wrong. It's not him, it's me, because quite frankly, the most successful wrestling character of all time did exactly that. And his name was Hulk Hogan, who would have matches, and then as soon as he got hit by the opposition's finisher, got up and beat the shit out of them and won matches and made millions of pounds for everybody. So I'm wrong, aren't I? But it's just, to me, it's a bit frustrating. It's not what I enjoy watching, match-wise. I like everything up until the matches.
Can I just jump in there, mate, and say it's so refreshing? And I know this is not this. I know this. It's so refreshing to hear someone say, "I'm wrong," even though I know what I like. I know I'm wrong. That's why I love you to bits, because there's so few people that actually admit that. By the way,
well, of course, the way I say it, I don't think I am wrong, but what I'm saying is that it's proven. You can prove to me that I'm wrong. Vince McMahon can go, but we did this with Hulk Hogan, because the aim, folks, is to make money, not to impress Rob or Dave Meltzer or anyone. The point is to make money, and Hogan made a load of money, and so did Taker, for that matter. I'm not a massive Undertaker fan. I massively respect what he's achieved, and I love to some of his matches, to pieces. But I'm not a big Undertaker guy historically, but it's the character rather than anything else. But these are the exceptions, and one of the beauties of wrestling is that there'll be some people that absolutely love the Braun stuff and love the Fiend stuff, that hated watching Seth versus Dominic earlier on. So that's cool. We're allowed to have differences.
Yeah, we are. So who's going to win this then? Let's have a show of hands in the chat. So we've got 4 of us in here. Sarah, you're the guest. Who's going to win this match?
I'm going to go with the Fiend.
You're going to go with the Fiend. Rob?
No contest.
Chris?
If I could take that cop out, but I do think Braun.
I would say Braun, seeing it's the main event. That's the only. And I'm opening the question to the chat. Trev said Bray. It could be any. It could go any way. It's been a very interesting pay-per-view, and it's completely I would say it's subverted our expectations, but really it's just made me look like a clown, because I can't predict anything correctly. So it's made my status as some sort of wrestling expert completely null and void before it even started, which Rob will be very impressed with.
I'm impressed with lots of things, but speaking of clowns, another hat tip to our friend Adam, who was on earlier on, who has managed to get the phrase "sod off clown" into a comment on the comments board. And if anyone has been paying attention, "sod off clown" is a translation of a song by the great Ludwig Borger, which we discussed recently. So well done. That's a great reference, getting sod off. In fact, I read that and went, "Sod off clown, what does that mean?" And then I remembered it was our Ludwig Borger chat the other day. The other thing I will say, the theme goes, is that when we were doing the old Hooked On podcast, when it was really just me and you talking wrestling and there was not much of a theme to it, you, for months on end, kept on about how they needed to get rid of Bray Wyatt, have him go away, and then come back with an all brand new, really cool character. You nailed the Fiend better than anything you've ever nailed.
Well, that's true. I did, and it was so obvious though, because he was such a good performer and had the bones of a great performance, but just was so stilted. By the way, I do think you and Adam might end up being the best friends that has ever been in the history of the world. But no, it's Bray Wyatt is such a talented man, but needed that little extra impetus. So, is his false count anywhere?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Haven't you been reading hooksonwrestling.co.uk?
Very good. That's twice Chris has made me properly laugh tonight. Proper lols, as they say. Very good.
Thanks.
Now it's become the Stone Cold salute. I like it.
I can't do the Stone Cold salute because Stone Cold does that. He bends either finger either side, and I just can't do that. It's one in the middle, and that's it.
Wow, what is that? Skeletor hands you've got. Look,
I've got very bony
weird
fingers,
hands. You've got. I've got little fat hands. I mean, you've got really skinny, bony hands.
I've got long fingers and long limbs. I'm basically a worst nightmare.
All those horrible spider things. Hey, Sarah, can I ask you a question? I saw earlier on you were talking about that you'd not been to any of our parties before. How have you come across us? Where did you find us? What's your link? How have you got on the How bandwagon?
One of my friends at work likes your channel on Facebook, and he told me to get on board and have a look and see, because I'm interested in diversing myself when it comes to web chats and stuff on YouTube. And he said, get on it, and here I am.
Cool, excellent to know.
Well, that's cool.
That is excellent. That is exactly what we want. But I think sometimes we're a little bit too sort of not in jokey, but we make little references, assuming everyone knows what we're talking about. And every now and again, we have to remind ourselves that we have had. I think what's the most we've ever had on one of our parties, Paul? On one night, 3,500, 4,000 on the same night.
3,500
on different parties, like 13, 14 different parties. And we've had lots of different people come over the years, but we've got over 10,000 subscribers on Facebook now, and so clearly a lot of them were
13,000 now.
13, is it? Wow. So it's even more than I thought. So there's a lot of people that are finding us anew. So I hope everyone gets to enjoy the pay-per-view parties when we are allowed to start them again, whenever that may be. They're sort of our core business, as it were.
By the way, a little shout out here to someone who doesn't come to many parties, but Francis Reyes, who is there for us all the time, mate. Francis is one of the guys that comments on all our stuff, comes to all our events that are non-parties, and he's just a genuine dude. So Francis, I know you're watching, mate, because I can see you commenting. Here's to you, mate. Here's to you.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Can I just go back to what you were saying about the Goldberg-Lesnar thing?
Go for it.
The 15th match. I mean, that was only devised because of Paul and Brock actually wanted him to have a moment in front of his own son.
Yeah.
So people could remember him being as he was back in the WCW days, which I thought was really, really touching of Brock and Paul to even do that.
Amazing. Yeah. I thought it was great, and I really like the idea of Goldberg coming back, and I love the fact that most, we're conditioned as fans for main events to go, like 15 minutes minimum, or whatever, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes minimum, whatever it might be, depending on the era. And that one went a minute and a half, so it was genuinely shocking. But the problem I've got is that then became the norm.
Yeah.
So then you went
for a long while.
Exactly, because the problem then became is they wanted there was a shift in the ethos in WWE, and that they wanted these names on the card that they couldn't have unless they went in short matches, Goldberg being the number one. So they had the WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 33, where it was Goldberg against Lesnar, and again, they had to go to a short match. All the matches in Saudi Arabia, Goldberg against Cain Velasquez, Ricochet, you know, line them up, you name it. It just became a crutch, and it became something that went from being shocking to being cheating fans and ruining main events.
He will have a long match if he's prepared to do the work, and he respects the people like AJ, Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor.
Absolutely. Absolutely he will, and it's not Lesnar. It's not Lesnar I'm going to go at all. It's this booking crutch almost. The fact that suddenly, you know, before that match, that wasn't a done thing. You know, the bookers couldn't do that. You could not have a 2-minute main event match. Then you could. So suddenly they could have Ricochet be destroyed in a minute, and they could have. Oh my God, is that a Stanley knife?
Yeah. I assume it's to cut his mask off. I hope it's to cut his mask off. Oh no, he's cutting the ring open.
What the fuck?
See, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Nothing cinematic, but I get it, exposing the boards, but
so is Retribution going to pour out of there like
yeah, brilliant.
20,000 blackbirds baked in a pie?
Imagine if all the screens went off and then they all came back on and they were all members of Retribution on the screen.
That's not a knife, Pradeep. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Oh my God, why is he doing this though?
Can you imagine? We said so in the chat earlier. I think it was Georgia said that Brett and Davey Boy didn't tell Brett the finish. Can you imagine if they did this nowadays and you don't need to tell me what you're doing, and then they did what?
Yeah, it wouldn't quite fly, would it?
I think we know why this is on last, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Trev's got an interesting question. Not particularly interesting answer, but an interesting question. Whose career was worse? Cain Velasquez's WWE career. Sorry, I'll repeat that. UFC superstar Cain Velasquez's WWE career, or WWE superstar CM Punk's UFC career?
That's it.
Both equally dreadful.
Who got paid the most?
Well, Fiend is the champion.
But they've got to have a tagline. This thing, you'll never see it coming. Well, there's got to be something coming at the end of this match for it to be the last match, hasn't there?
No, it was the backslide.
Oh, really?
For the backslide.
Backslide that they never saw coming. It does feel like there's something else coming.
Well, especially when it's only 3:05, so we've been on.
Oh, what's that?
Oh,
who's that? Is that Roman?
Roman Reigns.
Oh God, I'm so far behind you guys. Is Roman Reigns coming in?
Yeah.
Oh, you never saw it coming.
Oh well, I did actually, because it was on the bloody website like yesterday, whatever.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That is cool. To be fair, that is pretty fucking cool.
Would have been better on a
I was going to take out both of them.
That is cool. This is as cool as Roman Reigns has ever looked.
The 434 predicted this, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'd seen there was going to be a few returns this weekend, and Roman was mooted. But this is cool. I like this. I'm well in for this. Roman Reigns.
He should be Universal Champion, really.
Come on, Roman.
Hey, Paul, this is one of those moments where, do you know how we were pissed off that we didn't get the WrestleMania Drew moment?
Yeah, this is another one. I'm feeling exactly that, mate.
No, this is the opposite, because our crowds would have shit. Our crowds would have shit on this.
I genuinely don't think they would.
That was a rubbish last match, and then a Roman return. People would be going, "Oh God."
You think?
Yeah, that match was rubbish.
It was rubbish.
And then you got.
I think they'd be loving this. He's beating the shit out of them both with a chair.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I still think people are down on Roman.
This is the Roman Reigns everyone has always wanted. Am I right, guys?
the reaction he had when he went batshit crazy on Triple H that one night.
Exactly. This is the Roman Reigns everyone's always wanted, not the pandering Roman Reigns. I think if they saw this Roman Reigns, they'd be interested.
Yeah, but people have got short memories because the best Roman Reigns ever was that match at Mania when Lesnar kicked the shit out of him and he kept coming.
Yeah,
and people loved that.
They did love it, and about 2 weeks later they booed him again because they just completely forgot about it.
Yeah. Fickle.
Fickle. Fickle.
Spear.
Oh God, you're so far ahead of me. It's depressing.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Is it a good-looking spear? Oh, it was a good-looking spear.
Never been away.
That was the best looking spear outside of Edge and Rhino. No, sorry, Goldberg and Rhino.
I've never liked Edge. I've never liked Edge's spear.
Oh, Goldberg and Rhino, should I say?
I read somewhere once. I forget. I won't take credit for this, but I once read someone describe Edge's spear as the flying hug.
Yes.
And it's well, I won't bang on about it because it's not the right time. But I've always said about Edge is that I absolutely love Edge. I think he's great in every way, but he's never had a good finish. I
went to a Raw show here once, and I've seen more of Edge than what I ever thought I would, put it that way.
Awesome. Right. Guys, that's the end of the pay-per-view. Sarah, I'm gonna ixnay you from the chat now. Thank you for joining us. Really nice to speak to you.
Thank you very much. I hope I did okay. First time ever to do something like this.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll do it again. Guys, if anyone, are we going to stick around for 10 minutes and just chat shit? If anyone wants us to, tell us in the comments whether you want us to, or should we go to bed?
I think we should do. We'll do an extended wrap up. I'm certainly not sticking around for too much longer because I do have stuff to do tomorrow. But I did. To be fair, I did budget for 4. I did budget to be up till 4. So.
As did I.
We can have a bit of a round table, if you like, on tonight's show on what's going on with How and any.
Okay.
If anyone's got any questions, this is probably your time in the chat if you want to hang around for the next 10 minutes or whatever. If you've got any questions you've always wanted to ask of Benson, Hatch, and McNichol.
Well, you chair it, Rob, because you are our chairman of the. What we're watching here. So this is the corona. Oh, this is WWE 24 on the coronavirus crisis.
Oh, I switched the TV off. I don't know what's going on now. Okay, let's we'll go round the panel and people can join in the chat as well. I want 2 things from tonight. What was the best bit of SummerSlam, and what was the best bit about Hooked on Wrestling Does SummerSlam?
Who are you asking first?
Chris Hatch.
Thought you might do that. Best bit of Hooked on Wrestling Does SummerSlam. I'll go with that one first. Is it the way Diana went into everything and things we maybe wouldn't have thought or wanted to ask her, but once she got talking. And what most people won't have seen is she then sat in the back end of the conversation and watched everything and was taking photos of Harry and Georgia doing their stream. And that, to me, just made it, because it made it such a family affair and something so special.
Yeah, I think so. That's a really nice point. Yeah, what Chris means is, folks, is that we can see a screen, and literally only the 3 of us, because we're admin on this group, we can see a screen which has got this, what's going out on one side. We've got comments on the other. We've got little things that we can do to the screen on the right hand side on the menu. But along the bottom, we've got contributors. So, for example, when Sarah came on there, just before she came on, we can press a button on the bottom and bring them on, and that we can see the camera. So even if they're not on the screen, we can see what their camera is doing before we bring them on. We use that. Chris uses that to talk to us when we do the quizzes and wave to us and tell us to hang on or give us a thumbs up and whatever. And basically, normally bring someone on. For example, Doug Williams came on, we chatted to him, and then he went away and his little screen disappeared. First of all, Martin stayed a long time as well in the background watching stuff, and Diana certainly stayed beyond the end of Harry and Georgia being around. And that was, you're right, Chris, that was really nice. It showed that she cared and was interested, and we must have done a half decent job of not entertaining her, but of bringing her into the fold and not asking too many silly questions and and doing the right sort of thing. So yeah, it's a great call, I think. What about you, Paul?
So hooked on wise, the best thing was the sort of developing watch along for that main event. It's unoriginal because everyone's saying the same thing, but guys, seeing that unfold and seeing Harry, I said it earlier, seeing him relax and seeing how everyone out there reacted to it was just sensational, and that'll live forever. Like, that interview is on YouTube now, and that will get picked up. People will be watching that for years and years and years. So that's us. We've put something down there. We've put a marker down. Really, really enjoyed that. As for SummerSlam, the best part, it's quite a difficult competition. I'm going to make a slight cop out and say I just adored the event as a whole, because it felt like this feels like a rebirth of wrestling to me. It feels like we've kind of had placeholders for the past 6 months, and it feels like we've just been going through the motions. And this whole event feels like we're back. Wrestling's back. And to a lot of people watching this, and certainly to the three of us, wrestling is our world. And if that is back, the world is back, turning on its axis again in some form or fashion. So, yeah, that's me.
That's really nice. I'm going to say, how-wise, I am definitely going to go with. I'm going to go with the last 15 minutes of the Bulldog Brett match to see how Harry in particular, but Georgia too, how they enjoyed it. And I think they could have put a camera on themselves and we could have had no one else in the room, but just watching the show, and I would have enjoyed it. I think it was that nicer a reaction. On a broader note, this is such a big bit of backslapping, but I'm so proud of us in terms of what we've been able to put on, in the sense that, think about, we had a lot of good people on here tonight. Now, we got fortunate, a lot of them were good guests and they helped us out by being good, but there aren't many places that would be able to get Diana and Harry and Georgia and Martin and Nick Aldis and SoCal Val and Doug Williams and B. Brian Blair and Eddie Dennis. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot going on. Hopefully I've not missed anyone out. But Tito Santana. Crikey, how did I forget that? How did I forget that? Play that again before we go. It's only 70 seconds.
All right.
We'll end on Tito again. But, so cool to have had all those. And we actually, you'll find in the next couple of days, we'll get responses from a couple of other people going, "Oh, sorry, I missed that." And we only just missed out on them as well. So, really cool to be part of it. Well done, Paul, because you're the backbone of this. We do our bit, me and Chris and Dean and various others, but you're the one that's got to do it and put it all together and anchor it. So well done, mate. Like I said, a bit of backslapping there on our part, but I mean it. From SummerSlam, I thought Seth versus Dominic, because that's the kind of match that I came into cold, thought it was a bit silly, and I just thought I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a brilliant story. I thought there was and I'm not watching with any sound on. I can't hear the crowd. I can't hear the commentators, but I made my own story watching that. I was able to tell that they were trying to show you Seth was the experienced one, but Dominic was the fighter, and he was surprising him with a bit of speed, but Seth would then grind him down. Then there was the psychological side of things with Ray. I thought it was a beautifully, beautifully told story. I could have done without some of the stiff kendo shots and whatever, but as we talked about at the time, that's the kind of thing that if you do that once or twice a year, then it becomes so much more meaning, doesn't it? If you don't do what they did at the end in the main event, and you don't do the same thing at Payback and the same thing at another show, I love that to pieces.
Yeah, I agree. I did make it a bit of a cop out by saying I love SummerSlam as a whole, but I just think I'm so pleased to see it all back. And like, my two highlights were exactly what you said, and the whole Bayley, Sasha, Asuka thing, and even Drew Orton. I just think I'm just so pleased to see real wrestling back. I'm over the moon to see what WWE have accomplished tonight and put on a proper pay-per-view. I'm just my heart is full, man. My heart is full.
I didn't make a actual pick for SummerSlam. I'll go with how they finish Mandy, Sonya, take the circumstances out of it. Sonya managed to do her walk away, but still gave Mandy the big moment in the ring as the winner with Otis. It made sense. You use the words proper pay-per-view. I don't like those words, but it's right.
I know what you mean. I know what that means. That's a fair shout. To address the Pradeep mentions about you won't see it coming was a red herring overall. I think it meant Roman, didn't it? I think that's what ultimately. I think it was. It was for Roman Reigns. That's the reference.
The tagline only came in quite late on in the whole thing, and I assume that came in late on after they'd agreed the whole Amway Center Orlando thing, and they realized once they'd done that, Roman Reigns was comfortable coming back. So that was it. That was clearly it, and it was a satisfying ending. It was. Roman Reigns is a big star. He looked like he had fire. He looked like a proper wrestler. When was the last time Roman Reigns looked like a fucking badass? Because he looked like a fucking badass 5 minutes ago.
I didn't have a problem with anything that Roman did there, and I always quite liked Roman Reigns. My point 20 minutes ago or so was that I think at one of our parties, I don't think that would have been considered a satisfying ending, because I think generally people are very down on Roman Reigns. They'd have gone, oh no, Roman's back. Now we're going to see some more plodding Roman Reigns main events. I think that would have been the reaction. Not my reaction, but I think that's what would have been the prevailing reaction in the room.
Maybe so, but maybe the next pay-per-view will be the one where they get behind Roman, because if he keeps on like that, I think they turned a corner. I think the pressure's off Roman Reigns now because they've got Drew McIntyre. So I think Roman Reigns doesn't have to be that guy anymore, and he's walked away for so long. So I think he can be the Roman Reigns that he's always needed to be. And that was kind of a glimpse we saw tonight. And if we see that, how much do people rate? You listen to every wrestler in WWE when they're interviewed, they rave about how good Roman Reigns is.
Oh yeah, they do.
If you ally that with the character that he is, which is a don't give a fuck badass, if you put those two things together, we might well get absolute gold.
I always wonder if he can act. I wonder if he can act. Has he got any acting chops? Has he got another character in him? Because I would say two examples of people that were baby faces that I thought would have no chance of being a good heel. One was Batista.
Yep.
And when Batista did that whole that character he did, was it building up to WrestleMania 26 against Cena, and he went not all Hollywood, but he went all jerky, and there was the famous thing where he quit, didn't he, in the wheelchair and all that kind of thing. Amazing. That Batista character was amazing. And the other one, more recently, is Bayley. I would never have said Bayley had a heel run in her. Not at all. I do fear that she can't kind of go back again. I always have an issue when someone changes their character one way, then they have to try and change back again another point. But that's not the issue. The point is right now she's doing an amazing job. And those are two I would never have seen coming. So the chat for years has been, will John Cena turn heel? Will Roman Reigns turn heel? I'd like to see if Roman's got another character in him. Not necessarily a heel, but something different, something he could go to start pressing different buttons. The way that Seth was the slightly pandering babyface, and if it wasn't quite working, he's gone to this Monday Night Messiah. Punk could do it, couldn't he? Punk had the ability to be the man of the people, then the cult leader. Has Roman got that in him? He might not, but if he has, I'd love to see a bit of a change up. Especially, it's been a well-trodden path of the, you fans never cared about me. It's worked with some people, it hasn't worked with others. Big Show's a good example of it not really working. But if Reigns could find another character, I'd be really interested in him.
So along those same lines, and I do know we need to wrap up in a minute, something Francis has mentioned, we're a week away from another pay-per-view. I'm going to say it now. I don't think we're going to be doing 8 hours next Sunday night.
We're going for 9.
But do we think that's why Roman's been brought back in for this?
Not specifically for next week, no. But obviously Roman's been brought back to kick this product into overdrive, to create some buzz. I think Payback has obviously got a strategic reason why it's there next week, and I think we'll see a Drew Orton. I think it'll be a bit, it's an easy comparison, but it'll be a Tuesday in Texas type pay-per-view. So you'll see Drew against Orton again. You might well see The Fiend against Braun Strowman again. You'll definitely. So you got Sasha and Bailey. So they're going to be defending the tag team titles. They're losing those tag team titles at Payback, and I don't know who they're losing to, but they are losing them. And that is and I'd say that's going to be the biggest point of the pay-per-view. It's going to be that kickoff. They lit the touch paper a little bit tonight, and at Payback, that feud becomes official. So I think it's going to be a good show. Like, I think it's definitely worth tuning in for. Like you said, we won't be playing it, but I think it's going to be when we scratched our heads and said why they're doing a pay-per-view a week after SummerSlam, and kind of see the method behind the madness now, because a few of these things do need a little bit of a kick in the arse, and they can give it that on the pay-per-view. So fair play, man. I'm a WWE apologist. I like to see the good in WWE wherever I can, and I see the good in them now. I'm so excited, and I'm up for Payback. Let's have some Payback.
Very fair indeed. I want to. If you guys have got more in you, that's cool. But I want to close on just a little reference. Where was it just before? I think it was Thomas that mentioned it. I might be wrong. I can't find it. But there was a reference to our appearance tonight from Brian Blair, who came on early on, and it will go a little bit under the radar, partly because it was early, and partly because it was quite short. There you go. Well done, Paul.
Chris.
Oh, Chris. Oh, whoever it was. Sorry, my mistake. But yeah, fantastic to have him on. I thought he was really interesting. He was the one that actually, well, Martin as well, but Brian was the one that kind of left me wanting more. I wanted to hear more from him about his career and about the work of CAC. So hopefully we'll be able to do some more with him. But ultimately, that became a bit of not a side issue tonight, but certainly something that ran throughout the night alongside our SummerSlam 92 focus was the Cauliflower Alley Club. And I know at one point it had got, past 300 quid, and that's all nice, money to have in the tin. Some people will be, probably not this bit, but some people will be watching some of our stuff back later on. They won't have stayed up late. They might have had something else on tonight, but watched the Champions League or something. So there hopefully will be still people watching some of our output from earlier on as the week goes on. So I assume we won't put out a figure right now in terms of what we've earned, but at some point we'll let you all know, what we've picked up, and we'll get the money fired over, and I'm sure they'll acknowledge it that way as well. But thank you to everybody that donated. And if you didn't, it's not a big problem. But thank you for being here, and for anyone that shared the word and stayed around for a little bit and all put a few quid in, or however you contributed tonight. We really do appreciate it, and it's not just something sappy to say to the fans at the end of the night. We genuinely do, because it's not a lot of point in us doing this if people don't want to be around. But we've got a little thing in the corner of our screen at the time, all the times that tells us how many people are in the room at various different points and whatever. And I won't go into the details of it, but it made it worthwhile. When you do something, you put a lot of effort in, and you see it and you go, well, okay. There's been a couple of SummerSlams, isn't there, Paul, where we've put a lot of effort in, and we've booked some buildings, and we've written quizzes, and we've turned up, and there's been almost nobody with us, and you think, bloody hell, that wasn't worth the effort. And that's not anyone's fault, but ours and sometimes WWE's. But tonight has felt to me like it was it was worth it.
Massively, mate. Well, just to give you some context, we were broadcasting for 4 hours before SummerSlam started, and at some point we had 8,000 people check out what we did. Not all at once, obviously, far from all at once, but there was 8,000 people that watched at least 30 seconds of what we did over the course of 4 hours, which is a phenomenal number. And we're absolutely delighted. So, I will go to bed tonight with a happy heart, because I've been stressed to fuck since Rob and Chris will tell you this. I ritualistically bite off more than I can chew. And I pull it off more times than I don't, to be fair, but there are certain times where I don't pull it off. And tonight felt like one where I might not pull it off, but I think we just about got away with it, and it was a great night.
We had to reach into the box of gimmicks a couple of times, but we got there.
Oh, we did. So, guys, look, let's end this now. Let's end this now. It's 3:25. I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna say thank you so much to all of you who are still watching us now. Thank you so much for sticking with us, or if you whether you've come early in the night, whether you've been with us for 8 hours, or you've been with us for an hour and a half. It's been amazing. We love being with you guys, and we really appreciate your support. Can't wait to see you all in the flesh. And thank you to all, and someone will see this, someone will not. Thank you to all our contributors. Brian Blair, Nick Aldis, Diana Hart, Harry, Georgia, Martin, everyone that's taken part. And thank you to my co-hosts for the night, Chris, Rob. You know, there's been a few others, but you guys are the backbone of what we've been doing. Like, you know, the hooked on COVID era has been the three of us. And it's been absolutely amazing. Like, so I love sharing the screen with you guys. You're my brothers, you're my cohorts. It's fucking awesome. It's just great. So let's go to bed. Let's have a good night's sleep. Let's reconvene in the morning, and we'll catch you all guys on the flip side. Yeah.
During the week, you've got about 10 or 12 hours worth of How podcasts to get through, and then we'll see you again next Sunday for the next quiz. We just keep on rolling.
That sounds bad shit. Night, guys.